A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're joining us, all around Australia, all around the world, be it via Facebook or YouTube or platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. This Saturday, the 24th of April, 2021, ANZAC Day weekend, a special and symbolic occasion for the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship, round 11 of 35, coming to you live from the Talladega Superspeedway as we get ready for the Talladega 500, the ANZAC Cup. No better way to launch into one of the most significant, historic, and sacred days on the Australian yearly calendar. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Caban alongside Aidan Schultz and Andrew Collins as SimShed Broadcasting welcomes the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship to its broadcast platform and, of course, its broadcast content throughout the 2021 season, complementing, of course, our coverage of supercars midweek with the NTS Supercar Championship and also the GAC V8 T2E Series. We've got stock cars tonight, muscle power of a different variety, and it is super speedway action. And how excited are we to be bringing this to you over 500 kilometers tonight? As I mentioned, Aidan Schultz and Andrew Collins alongside me. I'm going to get to Aidan first because this is a man that lives, loves, and breathes his cup car racing. Mate, you are very pumped for tonight. Welcome along. How's the voice box after last night? Just quietly, straight off the top, please.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. Thank you for having me on board tonight. I'm absolutely pumped in the voice box tonight. I tell you what, it's a little bit short of breath after last night. It was 0.002 between the leaders. So we do go into Talladega tonight, which is a super speedway event. It is restrictor plate racing, and it is going to be nuts. So I cannot wait to bring this to the viewers. As you mentioned earlier, it is ANZAC weekend. You're going to see a lot of ANZAC liveries. We're going to have a lot of special stuff done before we actually go into the race with tributes to the retired vets and the vets that have passed. So really excited to be able to bring this to the viewers tonight.
Yeah, indeed. We've got a special guest standing by here in Mark Johannesson. We'll get to him in just a moment. Of course, he's the main man with the Weekend Warriors. He's putting all this together. Late deal, of course, for SimShed Broadcasting to come on board for the rest of the season. We're very grateful to be here to be able to bring this to you. Andrew Collins is the newbie as far as SimShed Broadcasting's commentary stable is concerned. He's alongside us as well. How's the dedication from this bloke? He's 3/4 packed to make a move in his real life on Monday, and he's here sitting with us on Anzac Eve. Mate, good evening to you. What are you most looking forward to tonight, please?
Good evening, Zach. Thank you, boys, for having me. Yeah, I'm set up with my keyboard on a box, monitor sitting on top of the computer.
That's commitment, mate. That's commitment.
There. So really looking forward to it. Like you said, Anzac Day is something very special to me. My old man was in the Air Force for a lot of the time as I was growing up, so we moved around a bit to a lot of the different places, but really looking forward to it after Aidan and I's call last night. What an awesome race, and I can imagine this one will be just as good.
Looking forward to getting your thoughts throughout the course of the evening, mate. Aidan, let's have a little bit of a chat about the season thus far for those of our viewers out there who are new to the Australian Stock Car Championship and the Weekend Warriors. Of course, it was on a different broadcasting platform prior to tonight. We're picking up where they left off with round 11. Out of the rounds so far, we've had 8 different winners. And given that it's Talladega, you can't rule out there being a 9th different winner tonight as we have a look at the championship points, mate. Talk us through it.
Yeah, 100%. It's been really different this year. It's different with Weekend Warriors. We're seeing there, and we're seeing Darren McKenzie at the top on points, but they also have a team championship. So you see Paul Jackson down there on 8th with 178 points. Him and Barry Neal are actually leading, or at least very close to leading the team's championship at the moment. And I don't think Barry's joining tonight, which is really unfortunate for their team to be able to consolidate the team's championship. But Darren McKenzie's really close or always really quick. Tonight, it's not going to matter. Sometimes Darren does have an issue with his tyre wear, and to be able to control that. But David Duran's also always really quick. You got JCW, Joshua Carra-Walden down there on 227 points. Cade Donnelly behind him on 214 and Dylan Davies on 197. We talk championship, but we go tonight on a super speedway, and it's literally, if you were to say to me, who's going to win tonight, let's just flick a coin. because you just don't know, mate. Like it's just going to be, you got no idea. So, but
what would
Darren
they call a
McKenzie's definitely in
42-sided
the
coin?
hot seat. Sorry, Zach.
What would they call a 42-sided coin? Because that's what you got to flick here. We've got 42
well,
drivers.
we might have just made something up we can sell on eBay, mate.
Exactly right.
Go paper, rock, scissors, boys. Maybe that'd be easier.
Yeah, exactly. Just quickly glossing over a couple of things here before we get into our pre-race ceremonies in 5 minutes' time. The ode, the last post, Ravelli, the anthems, a minute silence, all coming your way very, very shortly here, ladies and gentlemen. So standing by for all of that. In the meantime, in this field tonight, as you continue to look at the championship points there, 4 New Zealand drivers, 2 American drivers, nice early start for them on a Saturday morning, and 37 drivers from every state and territory in the country of Australia represented here tonight. So this is predominantly an Australian series, but with a tinge of international flavour as well. You'll hear the American, the New Zealand, and the Australian national anthem before we get underway here. And 20 Chevs, 6 Toyotas, and 17 Mustangs. So Toyota, which is a strong represented brand in the Stock Car Cup Series in America, is the weaker of the 3 represented here in this field, Aiden.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter what you're running. They all got the same running gear underneath them, so it's literally just like supercars. You know, it's just you've got the stuff over the top of it, but it's really good. We've got a 43 car field tonight, mate. Like it's an absolute chocker field. I actually gave up my spot to let someone run. Just saying.
Yes, I was going to say,
but it allows me to be able to bring content to the viewers, which is 100% more important than anything else. So, in regards to the running of the cars, they're all the same. It's just a different cover over the top in regards to whether you're running Toyota, Camry, or Ford. So, but this race is going to be really different. You're going to have to stay tuned because it's going to come down to the last 10 laps. It's all about staying in that draft, keeping your car clean, being able to convert those pit stops, do them clean, and to be able to come out. But in saying that too, caution's going to play a really big factor.
And let's focus on that very quickly here. We've got a couple of minutes before we get into our pre-race ceremonies. Qualifying and the race coming your way live tonight, folks. And the 9 different pole sitters so far this season will all be vying for at least a second pole position. Maybe we'll get a 10th different pole sitter. We'll wait and see on all of that. A point I wanted to ask you, Aiden, for clarification, 117 laps, is that an all-out Duke, or have we split this up into stages the way that the Cup Series does in America?
It's definitely not going to be an all-out Duke. Definitely not. They're going to need to position themselves into being in a position to be able to win the race after they can go green to the end with their final pit stop. So you're going to see a little bit of a jostling for positions early. You're not going to see too much racing early. Maybe, I don't know. You don't know what people are going to do. One thing I can say is the guy out the front that wants to run the field out the front, it's really going to hurt his fuel. So he doesn't have the draft. He doesn't have everything. So he's going to have to pit earlier. So a lot of people might drop back at the start and might go back to 30th or something, and you'll see him at the end because, they really need to consolidate the car and be able to keep it clean. So super speedways is nothing like the 1.5 mile ovals or the short tracks or nothing. You need to position your car. You need to have it clean for the end to be able to make those runs.
There's a guy by the name of Brad Allison sitting in here, standing by to have a chat to us very shortly. We're running out of time to do that, though, because we've got the pre-race ceremonies coming away in a matter of seconds here, ladies and gentlemen. So if Brad's happy to stick around, we'll have a chat to him immediately after the anthems are played here. The fact of the matter is that we've got one big omission from the field tonight, apart from your good self, Aiden, and that is 2-time race winner so far this season in Parry Anastakis. Parry's crew chiefing in real-world motorsport tonight down at Sydney Motorsport Park with the Motor Racing Australia meeting. We wish him all the very best. He's gutted that he's missing this race. There's no doubt about that.
He sure is, Zach, and I wish Parry all the best this weekend at SMP. I'm sure he's going to do a great job, and we can't wait to have him back in the servers again racing us, guys.
Right, let's get into it. The ode, the last post, Ravelli, a minute's silence, and the 3 anthems coming your way, ladies and gentlemen. To play the last post for us tonight, a lovely young lady by the name of Chloe Harmer. Chloe is an 18-year-old girl from the Goulburn Valley area in the northeast of Victoria, and she's atop of Mount Saddleback playing the last post for us. She's an avid go-kart racer, would like to make the Air Force her career someday. Here she is with what will no doubt be a hair on the back of your neck moment. The last post as we approach our ANZAC Day pre-race festivities for the ANZAC Cup for the great people here at Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine and the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Series.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age
Wonderful work there from young Chloe. Thank you very much to her for that. We'll now observe a minute's silence, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll get into Rouse and Ravelli. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for observing that minute's silence with us. And we'll now press on with the ANZAC Day pre-race ceremonies here, the Ravelli and Rouse. And at the end of that, you watch the cars move off in formation here, and the playing of the three national anthems will follow. Stay with us. Thanks, mate. Magnificent pre-race ceremony here at the Talladega Superspeedway as we gear up for the ANZAC Cup over 500 kilometres. Qualifying not too far away, round 11 of 35 in the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship. Oh, the hairs on the back of the neck standing up on such a significant weekend. That's the track. We'll get to some race info and stats for you in just a moment, but that's the track we're on, the Talladega Superspeedway, the longest superspeedway that we go racing on, 4.28 kilometres, 117 laps, 500 kilometres, 57-litre fuel restriction on these cars. There'll be 4 to 5 pit stops, 2.28 litre a lap fuel burn. We're working in the metric system, not the imperial. Don't worry about that. 3-set tyre limit as well. So, I mean, that'll be something that Aidan and I can have a chat about here very shortly because you've got to be tactical with where you take on tyres in your fuel stops, of course. Race stats for the 15th of May, 2021. Track conditions are set to 3:30 in the afternoon. Air temp 22. Track temp double that, 44 degrees. And they are, of course, Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Kilometres an hour, 3 kilometre an hour wind speed in a northerly direction there for you. That is a brilliant set of race information there compiled by JP himself. And we are getting set for qualifying here. Aidan, at this point in time, I'm going to hand over to you because there's a couple of people here to have a chat to on what is such a significant night, not just for SimShed Broadcasting, first event for us, but first running of the ANZAC Cup as well.
Yeah, absolutely significant night, Zach. And we've got the league owner, Mark Johannesson, up with us at the moment. And it'd be really good to have a chat with Mark. And, mate, I need to say from a commentator's point of view and to being a part of the broadcast, this is an absolutely amazing concept. And what you have brung tonight is sensational for the viewers. So how about you give the viewers a little bit of an insight into Weekend Warriors, what the league's about and what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, no worries, mate. Well, we started the league 3 years ago. We've struggled until probably this year, and that's really just taken off this year. We've got massive car numbers this year. I think we've had 70 drivers attempt to race with us this year.
That's amazing. That's amazing growth. And from someone which does a league myself, like, I know how hard it is. So that is amazing growth to be able to have that to come into. And not only just the league, the ANZAC round. It's absolutely sensational. I just got chills down my spine listening to all those anthems. The pre-race stuff that we've done, it's been absolutely amazing, mate. So whatever you're doing for this league has been absolutely amazing, and I can't fault it. So hold your head high, and you're going to get a lot more people in if we keep going the way you're going.
Yeah, I think we will, mate. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of these drivers for putting their time in and effort in to doing the custom paints for this week. And you and Zach and Andrew for coming on board and doing the commentating. And a big thank you to SimShed Broadcasting. He has done an amazing amount of work this week for us. So thank you.
Yeah, he certainly has. Hey, quickly, I just want to jump in here, Mark, and ask you, have you got a tip for us tonight, mate? Have you got a tip for this race? Who wins this at the post?
You probably can pick one of 20 drivers that have a chance.
I think, Zach, that's that 50-sided coin we were talking about,
exactly.
Mate.
I like it. But and the other thing too, I mean, as you say, amazing dedication and commitment from these drivers, particularly, Mark, because it's a Saturday night, and we know that real world commitments have started creeping back in on a more regular basis for these guys since COVID restrictions have started being lifted in certain parts of the country. But also, when you think about the fact that it's a 35-week season and we're only in week 11, enormous commitment from the 70-plus guys that have already been involved in this series.
Oh, it is, mate. It's unbelievable. And the guys are looking for practice sessions through the week. They're keen to get out and do some practice to bring the best racing they can. So I'm really stoked and really proud of each and every one of these drivers that are here tonight.
Anything you want to add, Aidan, or shall we let Mark go and relax?
We'll let Mark go and relax. He's about to go and turn about an hour and a half of the most intense laps you do around Talladega. So we'll let him go and relax at the moment and go and get his head in the game. But again, Mark, from us on the broadcasting and the commentary booth, mate, thank you so much for bringing this to us and allowing us to be able to commentate on this. It's been absolutely sensational idea, and the pre-race is still giving me shivers. It's great, mate. So best of luck in the race, and thank you again for allowing us to be a part of it.
No worries, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to have you guys here, and thanks.
Fantastic. Mark Johannesson there. Well done, mate. Thank you very much for that. Awesome night here, ladies and gentlemen. Spine-tingling stuff in the pre-race. We can only hope that the race lives up to what the pre-race has delivered here. There's a warm-up session coming up for 5 minutes here, and then qualifying at 8 o'clock. We'll get stuck into the race at around 8:15. So stick around here for it, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty still to come. The fact that we've got a 5-minute warm-up here, Aidan, gives us enough time to talk to Brad Allison in the meantime, and I'll let you take over here.
Yeah, 100% it does, Zach. Thank you very much. Brad, have you got a copy in the booth, mate?
I've certainly got a copy. How are we, gentlemen?
Yeah, very well, Brad. So, guys, we are talking to the main man himself and the reigning champion of the Weekend Warriors League, Brad Allison, right now. You've done a little bit of laps in practice. Obviously, Talladega, you've done a lot of laps around here. And how you feeling ahead of tonight's race, mate?
I never feel confident going into a super speedway race. It's just toss it a coin and see what happens, see where everything falls.
Yeah, most definitely. It super speedway. You can never go into a super speedway saying you're going to win. It's one of those things. We're going to see a lot of guys trying to run at the front. We're going to see a lot of guys trying to run at the back, trying to wait to the end. But then we've got cautions. We've got everything else that is going to play a part of it. But you cannot lose the draft. Have you got a plan that what you're thinking of doing tonight?
I'm going to try and stay around the back for a while. I think it's this new aero package is very hard to drive in a group of cars. It's all over the shop going into turn 3, really pushing high. So I think they're going to see a few cautions coming out of turn 3 there.
And it's funny you mentioned the aero package, Brad, there. The iRacing aero package or the iRacing setup's not being run tonight. It's a different setup, but everyone's running the same setup. How do you find it through practice? Did you find, because I know I found running it that it was very one lane. You couldn't really, as soon as you tried to drop up high and try and get a run, you'd just go backwards at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Have you found that setup allows for 2 or 3 wide racing, or how do you find in the lead up through practice?
Well, we found this set is quite good. So we're not bumping into each other from behind, but yep, you come up on a car, you think you're going to pass him, you pull out, and then you just stall beside him. So unless you've got a lot of good help beside you, we're just going to be side by side. It's going to be a lot of teamwork, and people are going to have to work with people they don't know. They're going to have to be careful of drivers around them. It's really going to be nail-biting stuff for every lap.
That's the way we like it, isn't it? Hey, I might just jump in here, Aidan, and ask Brad a question for the newbies to the newbies in terms of the audience to this sort of racing, Brad. As the man that sets the benchmark at the moment, as Aidan said, if you get caught in the pack tonight as you're trying to make your way through, what's the best way to navigating and weaving your way through what will no doubt be 2 lanes of jam-packed traffic?
There's no right or wrong with this package at the moment. The car is all over the shop at times. You'll be driving along, minding your own business, and suddenly your car will actually be swerving left and right. It's just, people are just going to have to be in control and not over push, take their time and show some respect and some patience, truly.
And what about the last lap? If it comes down to the last lap, do you want to be leading at the start of the last lap, or is it one of those situations where you want to get the draft off the final corner and pull alongside and get the win in the final few meters?
No, you definitely want to be leading that last lap. I was just trying to push JCW then, and he was setting faster times than me, and I was behind him trying to push him, and he was faster every lap.
Yeah. Copy that. Excellent stuff. Looking forward to this, Aidan. This is going to be epic when they roll out onto the circuit for qualifying, which is what they're about to do now.
Yeah, cannot wait for qualifying. And what you saw through practice, which we didn't broadcast because otherwise we'd be here for four hours.
Well, that's a bad thing.
No, not that it's a bad thing, but practice, they would have got a lot of draft and all that type of stuff. So qualifying now is going to be standalone. So this is one-off car pace. Generally around Talladega, you're going to see the second lap's going to be the quickest. Don't be
I
surprised if
may have to correct you there, gentlemen. I believe there's been a change in the program, and I believe they're going to do open qualifying, so everybody be on the track at the same time, I think, are they?
Oh, I don't
Yeah, well,
know.
I was going to say, have a look at them as they come out
I
onto
think
the pit
you'll see
lane.
it. They're all coming out
That
now.
does not
so yes.
look like one-on-one. It looks like it's going to be all in, which makes it a lot more fun because that means, Brad, you've got the option of running on your own or finding a dance partner, as they say.
Well, you definitely don't want to be running on your own if it's open qualifying because you're going to end up right in the weeds at the back. So you see right there, we've got one of the Mark 1 Esports cars, Dave Douglas there, and not quite sure who's behind him, but getting the draft here is going to be 100% essential to be able to get a good qualifying position. But at Talladega, it's not essential to start at the front. And to be honest, if it was me, I wouldn't want to start at the front because, you know, you're going to use your stuff up and I'd either want to start first or 43rd, to be honest. If I was starting 23rd, I wouldn't be very comfortable.
Very, very true. Hey, Brad, thanks so much for stopping into the booth, mate. We'll let you go and focus on the task at hand of qualifying, and we'll hopefully be chatting to you at the end of the night as well.
Terrific. Thanks, JP Simshed, Mark Johansson, all the commentators. Appreciate all your efforts very much.
No worries, Brad. Best of luck tonight, mate, and hope you bring the car home clean and have a good result.
Cheers. Thanks.
All right, let's get stuck into this. Cars on the back straight, qualifying underway. And this is going to be a very hectic 12 minutes or so, ladies and gentlemen. Hold your breath because this this totem pole on the left-hand side of the screen here is going to get a real workout. There's going to be cars slotting in and out as we go. 56.8 won the early benchmark from David Duran, but we expect that to be toppled as we go.
And
11:40 left on the clock, Aiden.
And Zach, don't mean to cut you off there, mate. We can bring something a little bit different to the viewers now. I'm thinking I'm going to bring Paul Jackson up into the commentary booth, and we're going to go on board with him during qualifying and let him know what he thinks about the new qualifying, whether he thinks it's better with standalone or whether he thinks it's better going what we're doing now. So are you happy to bring him up and see whether he's happy to talk to the people he's doing his qualifying session?
I'm happy to bring anyone up. The $64 million question is, are they happy to talk us through qualifying? Not everyone can do what Dick Johnson was able to do back in the day.
Mate, I've already got green flags, so they're ready to come up. So
let's do it.
I'll bring Paul up now.
All right. 10 minutes and 52 seconds to go here.
Jackson, have you got a copy?
Copy.
Hey, mate, how are you from the broadcast booth?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Mate, we're going sensational. What are you thinking qualifying being an open session instead of a standalone session? How are you feeling?
Yeah, certainly different being in the open qualifying, so going to have to see what happens here. Anyone could take the qualifying, so...
And how did you feel that the car felt through practice? Do you feel like you've got a good car going into the race? I know you very well as a racer, and I know how you race, but are you comfortable going into the big, long Talladega race, or are you feeling a little bit uncomfortable? How are you feeling?
Well, we just set the pole time there on our out lap. So, you know, it's going to be one of those things. Super speedways, you know, just got to try and keep your nose clean, stay out of trouble. You know, if you're in that pack, you know, hopefully you got a good bunch of guys around you and keep it clean to the end of the race.
Well, I spoke to you earlier and you said that you were going to run at the back and try and keep it clean to the end, but now you've just put it on pole at the moment, so that's really shot you in the foot. But we'll see how that goes. But thank you for jumping up in the booth, Paul, and best of luck, mate, tonight, and hopefully you get a good result for your team.
Yeah, that's all right, man. No worries. And yeah, we've got to show the team force of the solo car tonight for Aotearoa Racing, and hopefully do MRX Race Sims, our sponsor, proud as well for this big race, and hopefully we can bring the trophy home for the New Zealand drivers as well.
No worries, mate. Well, from all the guys up here on the broadcast booth, we wish you all the best and thank you again for allowing us to drop into your car.
No worries, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Late night for Paul Jackson, Aidan Schultz. I mean, and the other three Kiwis in this field as well. It will be ANZAC Day by the time we finish the broadcast here on the east coast of Australia. So massive commitment from those guys, and they do it each and every Saturday night. And as I said, it's the new edition. The Weekend Warriors is the new addition to the suite of events that we cover here on SimShed Broadcasting. You will be able to tune in at around this time each and every Saturday night with Aidan, myself, Andrew, and whoever else we can drag in and con into it along the way here. What used to be, isn't it funny how life changes, Aidan? When I was in my 20s, I wouldn't dream of working on a Saturday night. I'd be going out to the pubs and clubs, and now on a Saturday night, yeah, throw some work at me, whatever you like. But the SimShed Broadcasting stable of events grows to Saturday night now. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. Make sure you're here front and center. You don't want to be anywhere else. Do what I suggest with the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and other events that we cover. If you want to set up your monitors like a sports bar, you have the footy on one, you have us on the other, right?
100%.
Each and every Saturday night, and you crank the volume up on this one. And at some point tonight, when they are in a huge mob pack, we will crank the volume so that you can listen to these things hard at work, and they will be 100% full throttle for much of the night here. Aidan, let's talk a couple of things here. Viewers that are familiar with super speedways know that yellow line there at the bottom of the track is a no-go zone. It's out of bounds.
100%. You cannot pass below the yellow line. You're going to get a lot of draft on here. So guys that are mid-pack or at least 5 or 6 back from the front are going to only be half throttle going down the straight, trying to keep off. They're either going to be half throttle or they're going to ride that brake to try and keep off the car in front of them, because as soon as you make a touch at over 300 kilometres an hour, I won't speak mile an hour because I don't know that transition, exactly. But at probably 300, 350 kilometres an hour, everything happens really quickly. So, yeah, they really want to keep off the back of each other to an extent, but then run up within like 5 or 10 mil of each other. So the amount of people say ovals are simple, and it definitely isn't, Zach. The amount of concentration that goes on to be able to run this for an hour and a half without making a mistake, and that's just in a straight line. Wait till they go 2 or 3 wide, and you've got people around you. It's just amazing racing, and that's why it's such a juggle on who's going to win, and it's going to come down to the end. So I'm excited for tonight. I can't wait. I'm already on the edge of my seat like I was last night. I just can't wait.
Just to jump in there, Aidan,
obviously,
how many car lengths behind do you actually start to feel the draft, you being the expert in these cars? Yeah, 4 or 5 when you start to pick up a draft, or do you have to be a little bit closer?
It's different, mate. I don't really talk in relation to car lengths, because when you are driving, you can't really dictate and go, okay, I'm 5 car lengths behind. You look on your relative. So anywhere within a second of the car in front, you can start drafting up. But it also depends on who's behind you and pushing you. But you'll find and you'll see if there's a pack that's probably a second and a half behind a pack in front, they'll catch them, no worries. It'll just be bang, straight up on the back of them.
Now, of course, one of the great things here about Talladega is the start-finish line is not in the tri-oval section of the main straight. It's beyond pit exits. So the race will be won after that tri-oval section of the circuit. And how many times have we seen it decided in that last 300 yards or so, talking imperially, over the years? So keep an eye out for that tonight. It's not the usual start-finish line that you're used to. Of course, Phoenix is another example of a circuit that doesn't have a start-finish line where you would expect it to be on the main straight area. A couple of other things here, Aidan. Green flag pit stops. Do you think we'll see any tonight? And if so, you've got to be careful there, because you've got to wash a lot more speed off than what you would under caution. You've got to be careful to get that car pulled up. And we know that the stock car brakes aren't exactly the best in the world. You've got to get them pulled up before that pit lane speed limiter line.
Yeah, Zach, we definitely will see green flag pit stops tonight. Definitely will see green flag pit stops. So, yeah, it is hard to pull up. I did see the other night when we were on Talladega, a lot of people got a lot of penalties for speeding in the pits. So that's where it comes down to the smart head. and to be able to control it, maybe sacrifice half a second or whatever to be able to get that car and transition it through pit lane. But a short answer to your question is we definitely will get green flag pit stops, and don't be surprised if we go green for a very, very long time.
Hey, the faster the better. Although that being said, we do have time up our sleeve if we do get cautions along the way here. Now, Rain Campbell has just gone to the top of the timesheets here, and by 0.05 of a second, 48.47 now the benchmark over Jackson on a 48.52, and Troy Davidson 48.63. He and Mark Smith are separated by mere hundredths of a thousandths.
And we've
of a
just
second.
had Reece May go to the
May.
top.
Wow, 100th of a second, if you don't mind. And Hayden Millington slotted into fourth, 2/100ths faster than Davidson and Smith. I was talking about Smith and Davidson being separated by mere thousandths. We're talking hundreds, we're talking thousands, we're talking hundreds of thousands. It's going to be one of those sorts of nights. And don't be surprised if the winning margin is less than 100th of a second tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Zach,
That's
have a
how
look at those.
Talladega runs. It's
Zach.
just extraordinary, isn't it?
Zach, have a look at those times, mate. Like, seriously, we've got
Incredible.
48.46 at the top. We're going all the way down to 16th, and we're at 48.7. So, and some of these guys may not have got a draft yet. So this just goes to show how close this track is. The Sim Boys Racing are going really well, though. We've got Troy Davison up there in 6th, Gary Wellman in 10th, Aaron Dillon in 11th, Christopher Finlay in 12th. They were up there really early in qualifying now, and we're on board there, and we can see the Activity Hub Bali guys trying to work together now. So we'll see how they go in qualifying and see in the last 2 minutes whether they can push their cars to the front.
I was going to say, just look at that team working in tandem there at the moment. In fact, two teams, one of 3 and one of 4, working together there, getting the toe from each other. I'm making their way around onto the main straight one more time. They're going to they may just sneak 3 laps out of this, ladies and gentlemen. 3 more flying laps left in this qualifying session. The checkered flag flies in 102 seconds time. Have a look at them. And
They're only going to
race trim. This is going to be really tight.
They're only getting another 2 laps out of this, so probably this one and one more. That's probably all they're going to get. So I think now, you can see there with the car on board, he's backed off a lot there, and he's not going to get a good lap. So and that was Cade Donnelly. So I think we're really locked in, actually, and I don't think there's going to be many more jumps coming into the race. And Paul Jackson, the man that we went on that said that he wanted to start at the backs off the outside of the second row. So that's going to be interesting for Paul.
To be fair, and I don't watch as much NASCAR as you do, but to be fair, the outside is the part of the track that you don't want to be, because as you normally see, if there's a big one, and we're expecting one at some point tonight, when the big one occurs, all the rubbish flies to the top of the circuit on the outside. So, but that's the thing. There's so much more to oval racing than meets the eye. Yes, we can joke about it. Oh, they've just got to turn left and hit the gas. But the fact of the matter is that when there is a big one, and you see it at Daytona, you see it at Talladega, right
there it goes.
Right on cue. Right on cue. How about that? Thank God it's only qualifying.
Well, look at them all.
10, 15
ACW in the
cars.
fence. We've got the Activity Hub Bali guys in the fence. Everyone's in the fence.
Oh, dear. And I didn't realise M. Scaife was joining us for expert comments. No, the interesting point is it's about trying to take evasive action and being alert and aware and kind of preempting the trouble before it arises, to know what sort of evasive action, if any, you might take if you are actually in a position where you can take evasive action. And we don't always see that. Case in point just now, because there's still one car parked up on the left-hand side of the circuit there, off the end of turn 4. So there they go, past the tribal.
Yeah.
Check flag flies. Barney's going to be hard at work here, waving the flag. He's done.
Good old Barney. But Zach,
Actually,
if we
it's
talk
nice
about
to see him actually waving the flag for a change, because there's been so many
he's been
cases in
slacking
my
off,
racing.
hasn't he?
He's been slacking off. They've obviously done an upgrade where Barney now waves the flag, because everyone's been asking the question, why the bloody hell isn't he doing his job? Well, now they've got him doing his job. It's good to see.
Yeah, they must have started to pay him, but he's doing a good job. But we talked about Jacko, Paul Jackson, and you talked about the outside. And everything you said was really relevant on being on the outside, because if something happens, you're going to be washed up and sent into the fence. But the thing with Paul outside of the second row, if I was Paul now, I'd be settling down in second, third or fourth and just running that inside line, saving that fuel and keeping out of trouble. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, if you're 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th through to probably 30th, that's where you got to be worried, because that's where the stuff's going to happen. So you're either at the front or the back, to be honest. And but we don't know what's going to happen tonight, so we'll wait and see.
I'll get some comments from Andrew in just a moment. But the other thing too, it's about picking a dance partner and trusting the guys in front, beside, and behind you. In terms of if you want to go from the high line and run on the bottom line, you've got to trust that someone's going to actually give you the room and allow and let you in. It's not like the M1 where they've got no choice, right? It's a case of if they don't want to let you in, they can make it as hard as possible for you to get off the top line if they want to.
100%, Zach, and it's going to come down to teamwork as well. There's a lot of teams in here, so you're going to see these guys probably gang up and try and work as a team to be able to get up the front. But it's not going to happen too early, I don't think. So don't expect fireworks early in this race. This is a long race. They really need to put their head into it. And I don't think we're going to be off the edge of our seat and actually getting really excited until probably an hour's time with about 20 to go. So we'll wait and see. But we do see those Sim Boys cars in the yellow. Look at them all lined up there on the outside. So they've obviously worked with each other through qualifying to get those cars up there.
Indeed, they have. We will have a look at the grid for you in just a moment here, folks. In fact, why not? Let's do it right now. Reese May on the front row with Ryan Campbell, then Dave Trevathan from the inside of the second row, the outside Paul Jackson. Hayden Millington there on the third row with Troy Davidson, Mark Smith, and Kate Donnelly on the fourth row. Jaden Draper and Gary Wellman from the fifth row, Aaron Dillon and Christopher Finlay from the sixth row. Take us through rows 7 to 12, Hayden.
So row 7 is Greg Spencer on the inside line with Tony Gagliardi on the inside line with Greg Spencer on the outside. Row 8 is Tristan Koch with Dave Douglas out of 16. Matt Payton out of 17. Stephen Williams is out of 18. Out of P19 is Dylan Davies with Daniel Aguilera Bates out of 20. Joshua Carroll-Walden, as we'll probably call him on the stream, JCW, is out of P21 with Nathan Legg out of P22. We've got Raymond Yeager out of Activity Hub Barley Racing out of P23 and Billy Hickey out of P24.
Over the page, row 13 is where you find the entry of Dave Durand and Nigel Patton. Row 14, Josh Micklemore and, of course, Kobe Jordan. Row 15, Eli Donaldson and Ruben Phelps. Row 16, Hamish Gallagher and Adam Ariel, and it just keeps going, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Gretton from row 17 alongside Jamie Nankervis. Row 18 is where you find Nicholas Marriott and Reese Belitho. Row 19, Mark Rooney and Darren McKenzie. Row 20, Jason Nicholas and Mark Johannesson. And then, of course, Scott McClintock and Brad Allison from row 21. That is the 42-car field that will contest the inaugural Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup. It's a good thing that I'm not Kenny Callender, because the S's in there would have been terrifying.
There's a lot, mate. There's a lot. And sorry if I left you hanging there, mate. I thought you were right through the end of the thing. So sorry.
That's all right. All good. Let's get ready to rumble here, boys, because it is 117 laps. It is 500 kilometres quickly, Andrew, and I mean quickly. What are your preliminary thoughts here?
It's going to be very interesting. There's a lot of yellow cars there all bunched together, isn't there? So that team, as you said before, obviously helped each other and pushed each other through to the positions they're in. So I'd imagine that at least one of those
we've
cars...
got Rex in the background on the yellow. Josh Micklemore's gone around. One of the big players.
What happened there?
Be a big one.
They've crashed under yellow.
And now the safety car's already started to pull off here. Are they going to let it go? They're going to let it go.
They're going to let it go. That's really unfortunate. I do not know what's happened there between Hamish and Josh.
I thought that only happened in official iRacing.
Get ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Such an historic occasion.
Strap your belts down, guys. Strap your belts down. It's a long way down to the front, to the start-finish line. Here we go, Zach. Take us away on the first
Weekend
lap.
Warriors ANZAC Cup, let's go! The Australian Stock Car Championship is underway, and already some argy-bargy at the front of the field there as they try and gain some ascendancy on the run into turn 1 and 2 for the first time. And they make their way round onto the back straight. Reese May takes the early ascendancy from Reen Campbell. Dave Trevathan tucks in behind there, and now they're going to go 2 and 3 by 3 down the back straight for the first time. Interesting to see that it looks as though, I think I'm right in saying that everyone that was involved in that shunt at the start, before the green flag, they have got back onto the back of this queue, but it's not ideal that we're having shunts on the warm-up lap here. But that being said, that's all part of Talladega, ladies and gentlemen. Here they come onto the main straight. You can already see the bottom line, the preferred line, by the first half dozen or so as they complete the first lap. Aiden.
Yeah, the bottom line. Oh, we're going back to the replay here to see what happened under yellow. We did have Josh Micklemore involved in that. We got Ruben Phelps up there in the Mark 1 Esports car above. So, Hamish Gallagher getting into the back of Josh Micklemore, and that's his teammate. So I don't know what's happened there. I'm sure a little, 93, sorry. That's Riley Curtis, isn't
93
it?
93 Eli Donaldson. Eli
Donaldson, sorry.
Yep.
So that's unfortunate for them for the start. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch up on all the car numbers and everything going. So
yeah, there's a bit to digest, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's all happening at a million miles an hour. But like you said, Zach, the low line, like I said in the pre-show, it's definitely showing to be the strongest line at the moment. And if it was me in this race, I would just sit there for the next 70 laps. Just go. You do have the Sim Boys cars up the top there, the yellow ones you see, trying to make a move around the top, but they really need to rely on the side draft to be able to really get up there, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do that at this stage. So if I was them, I'd be looking for a gap to try and drop down. But as I say that, down the back straight there, it looks like they're trying to make a little bit of a move. But 3 laps into 117 laps, there's a long way to go, folks. Strap the belts in and get used to it as we're on board with Christopher Finlay right now.
Christopher Finlay in 15th, and you can just see that he's swamped. He's only the 4th car on the outside lane there at the moment, but he's buried in the pack as they come down towards the start-finish line to complete lap 3 of 117. Reese May, Reen Campbell, Dave Trevathan, the top 3 at the moment. Hayden Millington's moved up 1 position into 4th. This gaggle of yellow cars, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're on board with the 5th one in Finlay. Around the outside as they stretch onto the back straight one more time. So the low line preferred at the moment, but the boys on the high line are trying to make a go of it. Finlay getting a bit of a run here at the moment, going up into 14th.
And what these guys on the high line really need to do is, especially coming onto the back straight, is drop down a little bit lower and use the side draft of those cars on the inside to be able to make that run. That's the only way they're going to get around.
That's about the only point we didn't get to in the pre-race show, in the terms of we talked about the bumper-to-bumper action, but also side draft plays a big role here at Talladega. But again, it's just those 5 yellow cars, and how nice do they look as well. You know, yellow's my favourite colour, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really enjoying this. Round the outside through turn 1 and 2, they're holding their line, and they're holding their position, so there's nothing wrong with that. If they start to drop too far back, they'll then consider trying to get down to the low line. But they've just been joined by a 6th car up there on the high line now. Interesting to see if anyone decides to follow them, but that car there high up is a sitting duck because he's not far enough up the clacker of the car in front. There's 7 of them, 8 of them now there on the top line, but they're not close enough to benefit from that draft that Aiden's been talking about. Back to the main straight. If you're just joining us, lap 5 of 107.
Eli Donaldson comes out. So now he'll be right. He'll be positioned. If he gets the outside, the side draft off the 34 car, where we see actually no, he's dropped back in. That was really smart. It looked like he would be able to jump on the back there. There is an Activity Hub Barley car there that's a sitting duck, and now he's just dropped down inside his teammate there and trying to inside in front of Raymond Yeager. That's Greg Spencer, I think. That's dropped down inside Raymond Yeager to just try and settle in for the race. But these Dim Boys cars at the top are not giving up. They're wanting to run that high line, and we'll see whether the person who's at the front of that, the car 92, whether he's going to be willing to help him to get around the top.
That's what I was about to mention. Who do you think that car is holding? Because I reckon he's blocking him off there. So if they can get around him, they must obviously have a mindset of what they want to do. They just someone's jumped up in front of them and seems to have blocked their run.
Well, he hasn't blocked it too badly. They haven't suffered as a consequence of it at this point in time. If anything, it's helped the momentum of that high line gather a little bit of speed to be able to try and draw up alongside the front of the inside queue here. So Reese May, Dave Trevathan, Hayden Millington, the top three at the moment. I just want to touch on, we mentioned racecraft. It's such an imperative part of oval racing already. David Durand up from 25th to 17th, 8 positions gained from him. Eli Donaldson from 29th to 22nd. Ruben Phelps up 6 spots from 30th to 24th. The other big mover, Darren McKenzie, up from 38th to 31st. So these guys are slowly but surely manoeuvring and weaving their way through the field. Watch them as the night goes on.
Yeah, and there's a lot to play out yet, Zach. It's very early, but if you look at Reese May, who's leading at the moment, if I was him, I'd be dropping back 2 or 3 positions because he's using all his fuel and he's going to have to pit 2 or 3 laps earlier than the cars behind him because they're just going to be rolling off. 100% it will, and if he doesn't transition that pit stop, he's not going to maybe figure in this race depending how the yellows go. And we see Paul Jackson there on the inside in 2-3-1, which wanted to start at the back, and obviously now he's at the front. But if I was Reese May, I'd be letting these guys go a little bit and sitting in and saving some fuel.
Actually, you mentioned the burning of fuel here. We noted in our pre-race preamble that 2.28 litres per lap is the fuel burn here, but we also mentioned that it could be 4, it could be 5 pit stops, depending upon how you play it. Is this a case of you might be able to stretch it and do it on 4 with good fuel saving, Aidan, or are they all looking towards a 5-stop strategy? Do you have an idea of what the mentality is amongst these drivers when it comes to fuel strategy tonight?
Look, to be honest, Zach, it's all going to depend on yellows. I can't put the crystal ball out and say if we go green, we're going to have to do this amount of pit stops. It's all going to depend on yellows. I will guarantee you, as you come down into the last 30 laps, there is going to be yellows with people pushing. So
sure.
I'm not quite sure. I can't really answer that one at the moment. We're just letting the guys settle in and let it play out at the moment. We see the Sim Boys cars still sitting on the outside there trying to get that run. Paul Jackson there is in a really good spot. We've also got Gagliardi's in a good spot as well, just sitting there. And what we've seen when these things go green for a long period of time or even to the end, you really need to transition those pit stops because the moment you lose that draft, you're gone. So it's been a really clean race from all the drivers at the start here, and I actually don't expect to see anything different. We might go green to the end here. Round
11 of the Australian Stock Car Championship for the Weekend Warriors. If you're just joining us, a special edition of Saturday Night Motorsport on SimShed Broadcasting, where that's about to become a regular occurrence, ladies and gentlemen. This ANZAC Day Eve 2021. Great to have you along for the ride. Chris Whitaker commenting on the Real Sim Racing Australasia page on Facebook saying, booty, 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 let's go racing, boys, doing his best Darrell Waltrip. And that is exactly what we are doing. It's frantic, it's fierce, it's been very interesting thus far. And the observation from mine, Aidan, is that you notice that the top 25 or so have broken clear of the rest of the pack. So what's the mindset? What's the plan of attack for the rest of the pack now? Do they just simply run their own race, mind their own business, or do they wait for a caution to get a leg up?
Look, at the end of the day, Zach, at the moment, they just need to run clean and work with each other to try and pull themselves up on the back of this lead pack. If they try and fight each other, and you see Josh Mickelmore there is one of those guys that is down in that pack, so they really need to work together to just try get up on the back of the lead pack. But in saying that, like I said, if we go green into the pit stops, then it's not really going to matter. And I can see there now, looking at the back, they're starting to draw up on the back. So this is the way that the race is going to go. It's going to ebb and flow. You're going to see people come back and forward. So there's a lot to play out. Like I said, only 12 laps in. We can't get excited too early. We sort of just need to commentate and communicate through this because the last 10 laps is going to be where it's at. But see there, as I said, you got Josh Mickelmore in behind the car in front of him there, and they're dragging up onto the back of the main pack now. So it's that easy. So it can even be 3 or 4 laps towards the end, and you can be intense and you can win it.
Indeed. Onto the main straight again. Of course, it correlates well that we're here tonight because the NASCAR Cup visits Talladega on Monday morning. Of course, a lot of interest in the super speedway races, particularly also the road course races when it comes to America's premier stock car racing championship. And it works well that we are also in Talladega this weekend. Onto the back straight they go. We're riding on board here. You just notice we're on board with Jaden Draper. You just notice how hectic it looks looking out of his windscreen at the moment. He's got cars to the right, cars to the front, cars to the rear, nothing on the side because he's hugging the out of bounds line at the moment as they come back onto the main straight. Reese May looks content there as the leader, but as you say, Aidan, his biggest concern will be fuel burn.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, if I was him, I'd be letting someone else have a go at the front because he's going to have to pit 2 laps early. And if he does pit early, he's going to be left stranded and they're going to get the undercut on him. So I would be backing back and just saving my fuel a little bit and trying to play the long game because you don't win your race at lap 14 staying out front. So, but at the same time, he's in a really good place to not have any incidents. So it's really a juggle of the dice. Do I want to stay here and use my fuel, or do I want to drop back a bit and be able to put myself in a position? So it's going to be interesting to see how Reese's race plays out as we go into the back end of the race, or even through the middle part of this race. I have a feeling, and quote me on this, and you can, once we go through green flag pit stops, which it looks like it will, Reese will drop back a little bit, but then he will put his car in a good position to be able to fuel save towards the end. So don't expect Reese to come out in the lead by the time all this pit stop strategy plays out.
So I'm just going to punch some numbers here, and I should have actually done this pre-broadcast, but there's been a fair bit going on today, as most people know. So 57 litre fuel restriction, divide that by the 2.28 of fuel burn that we're talking about, 25 laps.
Yeah.
So very shortly, they'll start in the next 10 laps or so. They'll be looking at that pit lane entry on the left-hand side there. If we go green up past lap 21, 22, they'll be looking at that pit entry with real interest. There's no doubt about that. But that also brings in the other point here, that 4 runs of 25 get you to lap 100. And that's obviously the critical number on a 25-litre burn on a 117-lap race is 92. But, of course, let's remember that we're talking stock car racing, so we're talking potential for overtime, green, white checkers, and that sort of stuff too. So there's so many different elements to this that could lead to it being easily 5 or 6 stops even this race, not just 4.
Yeah, and Reese May probably won't get to 25 because of how he's been at the front. Some of the guys in behind might get to 27 or 28. So the fuel burn that's calculated is calculated if you're flat with no draft, with no help. So some of these guys might be sitting back, and Reese May, I'll guarantee you, and mark my word, will be first to blink.
All right, looking forward to that very short. Although, of course, when he blinks, that'll be the catalyst for everyone else to start thinking about it as well. And then
they will think about it, but I don't think they'll come in because they'll have an extra couple of laps and they'll use that draft and they will keep going around, and that's where the undercut's going to happen. It might keep have Reese May as a sitting duck.
Two ways to look at this. When May goes to pit lane, if you don't follow him, May's going to have a very quiet pit lane all to himself, so he's not going to get impeded in the pit lane. If
100%.
you go to pit lane with the rest of the clan, you're going to be swamped in traffic on the lane, and it's going to be congestion trying to get off. So there's one or two ways it could work. It could work to May's advantage being the first one to blink and having no one go in with him. Conversely, it could work to be part of the mob that goes in peak hour traffic.
Well, before they go into the pits there, mate, why don't we jump in with one of the drivers that allowed us to jump in and just get a feel on how the race is going for them?
Let's do that. You drag them up at your leisure, mate. I'm happy to go along with your lead there.
All right, no worries. I'll drag Aaron Dillon up into the booth.
Riding on board with Mark Smith at the moment, quietly, ladies and gentlemen. He's
Aaron Dillon, have you got a copy, mate?
Yeah, mate, I've got a copy.
Aaron, you up in the broadcast booth, mate? You and the Sim Boys guys are going well up high there. How's the race panning out for you so far?
So far, all right. We're just running this train up top. We've got a bit of movement at the start, but we're just holding position at the moment.
Do you feel that the top is working? I know that with the updates with the Cup cars and everything through the super speedways, it's been really hard to run dual lines. So are you feeling with the setup tonight and everything that it is allowing you to run double lane?
Yeah, it seems all right. We're holding pace with the inside line, not struggling at all. It's quite easy to run up here. So, yeah, going well for us boys.
So fuel-wise, next 5 or 10 laps, you ready to pit?
Yeah, it's saying we've got about 12 laps remaining, 10 to 12, so don't want to give too much away.
Nah, no one can hear you on the stream, mate, so you're all good. You're all good. This is all between us. We're all friends. But, yeah, you Sim Boys guys have been holding it up. You've been holding it up high there and doing a good job. So thank you for allowing us to get on board in your car, mate, and best of luck for the rest of the race. We might jump on a little bit later with you, but, yeah, best of luck, and we'll let you go back and concentrate.
Cheers for that, guys. Thanks for putting it on.
No worries, mate.
Aaron Dillon and Aidan Schultz there. Thanks to Aidan for bringing Aaron into the booth for us. Let's continue on lap 20 here, ladies and gentlemen. So already a sixth of the race behind us. That went quick. The end of lap 20 here in Talladega. How good's this as they come across the start-finish line? Yeah, I was going to say.
Someone just hit the wall.
We've got one car up very, very high, scraping the wall there. And we've got a long train of cars on the bottom line and that 5 or 6 still hovering in the middle. So 3 lanes for the first time tonight. That now has quickly become 2. And we've got only about 7 cars sitting in that top lane at the moment as they make their ways down the back straight on lap 21. Just quickly chopping and changing for positions, but Billy Hickey from 24th.
The Sim Boys up into the wall!
Massive stunt.
Who was that? Was that Troy Donnelly? No, Cade Donnelly.
So that's going to trigger him to come to pit lane. Caution flag waves the first caution. And this is at a critical point because everyone will now come in, Aidan. Everyone will be in.
Yeah, they'll definitely be in now. And they'll be taking
Massive
fuel and tyres. I don't know what happened there to Cade. He was sitting there well. It looks like his car, he might have had a bit of malfunction with his software because it looked like his car just sent straight up into the wall. And from running really well for 20 laps, really interesting to see what happened there.
No, all of a sudden, we were just getting ready for a round of green flag pit stops. We're going to get them under yellow. Everyone's going to get a free pass here.
And you know who this is really good for? Reese May. Exactly.
I was about to say exactly the same thing. Let's bring Andrew Collins in at this point in time because we haven't had too much of a chance to chat to Andrew just yet. Mate, that was a frantic opening 20 laps. Reese May, Dave Trevathan, Hayden Millington setting the pace there. Paul Jackson sitting nicely in 4th. But a couple of guys, as I mentioned, Billy Hickey up 12 positions already from 24th. So a couple of the guys just using racecraft to ease their way forward here.
Yeah, all doing very well, mate, aren't they? Still the yellow cars there, and unfortunately, just with the one monitor I've got, I can't see too much information, but it's been a very exciting race, and it's only going to get more exciting as the race goes on, I would imagine.
You'd imagine this, Aidan, sorry, the first time I look right to my timing monitor all race, and then there's a car on the wall. So that it just had to happen in that symmetry. Everyone in the lane. Here we go.
It's the curse of the commentator. But yeah, let's concentrate on the lane, and then I think we'll jump in a driver under yellow afterwards and get there too.
Bring up whoever you like. You've got my permission to do that. Everyone in the lane, and let's wait and see who gets the whole shot here, who wins and loses the race on pit road. Everybody in. Will this be a tyre stop? That's the critical question, Aidan. Will they take on tyres under caution rather than sacrificing that time under green?
No, they won't take tyres at all. You don't need tyres here. As you can see how fast they transitioned through that stop, it was just a top up of fuel. So they would not have taken tyres at all. Some might have that are at the back, but it doesn't really matter. But
That was
Reese
David.
transitioned out of the pits. Smith has
Hayden
gone up
Millington's
3
dropped
spots.
3 spots there, down into 8th position. He was in the pit lane for 16 seconds as opposed to everyone else around him. I was in there for about 11 or 12 or maybe 13. That was a long stop for Hayden Millington.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably overshot his pit stall or something. I've done that several times, so I know what that's like. But what I might do, we're under yellow now. We want to create different content and get these guys on here. So I'm thinking I might jump into the car with Paul Jackson and just have a chat to him and see how his race is going. Is that all right?
Go for it. Best time to do it is under green, of course. If you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, ANZAC Cup, courtesy of Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine. This is the ANZAC Cup for the Weekend Warriors and the Australian Stock Car Championship. Aiden, it's yours.
Paul Jackson, you got a copy there, mate?
Copy, mate.
Mate, we spoke earlier in the broadcast and you were... I like your helmet, by the way. It's really good. But we spoke earlier in the broadcast and you were contemplating starting at the back and taking it easy and you ended up putting it off the second row. So that didn't really work out to plan for you. But how's your race going so far, mate? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous with a few of the cars around at the start because they're not, besides Reese May up there at the front, and I've run with Mark Smith a couple of times. The other few cars haven't really run around a lot with. A little bit nervous on that start on who's around me and that, but we sort of fell in, jumped one spot, and just sort of sat there on the inside lane trying to save a bit of fuel and sort of fell into place, and we jumped a spot in the pits there. I think someone jumped their pit bay there and they come in, so we grabbed that spot. We're up to third, so not going too bad, sitting up there.
So it was a different setup tonight as opposed to the iRacing one. What's your feedback on that setup before we go green? Because you're going too wide now, ready to go green real quickly. What's your feedback on the car setup? Is it nice to drive? Is it nice and stable?
Yeah, it's pretty stable. There's not too much sort of floating around the track, I find. And if you're running half to 3/4 throttle, it's pretty stable. You stay in line quite well.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Well, I know you're about to go back to green, so we'll let you put the visor down and concentrate, and best of luck towards the end of the race, mate. And hopefully we can talk to you in the broadcast booth at the end.
Yeah, here's hoping. Thanks, mate.
Nice to have Paul Jackson stop by for a chat here at the 24-lap mark. So we're not quite a quarter of the way there. Of course, quarter race distance here is about 29 laps tonight. Reese May.
Glad you had that coffee this morning there, Zach, because you're going to need another couple, mate.
Oh, mate. The coffee this morning, the iced coffee this afternoon, and there's Barocca on standby if I need it. So it's been a very long day. Those of you that follow me on socials will know that I've already been out and about with West Bremer radio commitments here in Ipswich, then on to the North Ipswich Reserve for ground announcing duties at the Ipswich Jets home game round 5 of the Intrust Super Cup. Now on to leg 3 of the triple treat. As I put it on,
we'll have to start calling you the Energizer Bunny, mate. Definitely, it just keeps on going. But you were about to go green now, so we'll let you take them to the green, Zach.
I could use some lithium right now. Lap 24 of 117 as we get set for a restart here. Pace car pulls off. Race about to get back underway. Will be interesting to see how Hayden Millington bounces back. That was the car that Paul Jackson referenced that overshot the pit marker. Hayden picked that up beautifully. Let's see what fireworks await as we get back to green at Talladega. And look at that. Reese May's bolted. He's gone.
He's definitely gone there.
He flies. 3 car lengths already, Hayden.
He's definitely gone, but that's going to be snaveled up really quickly. You watch him come back to the field. Don't worry about that. This is Talladega. They're going to come back. So here we go. We can always see it with Paul Jackson in the 2-3-1. Well, the start on the restarts is off the leader, so it's up to him to go. Now we see Paul trying to make a move on the outside. If he does get a run, he'll try and drop down here, which he's not going to be able to clear him. So now he is a sitting duck, unfortunately, and you're going to see Paul go back to about 10th now.
Yep, that's the gamble. It's the old Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him. as they come back onto the main straight. 25 of 116 in the book. 117 rather. May, Trevathan, Smith, Campbell, Jackson and Draper, the top 6 here. And Jackson falling down the order considerably. Already back to
there he
fifth.
goes.
Now he's back in.
Got in the 5th spot. That was really good driving and smart driving from Paul there to get himself back in the pace.
He's conceded defeat on the option of trying to get to the lead early on in the second stanza of this race here. So they stretch down the back one more time, and it is single line astern at the moment. And good luck breaking the toe here. It's like good Formula V or XL racing on a circuit around Australia. You will struggle to break the toe tonight. It's going to take a big one or a real change of luck, a real stroke of luck to be able to break this toe. Look at them, 30 wide, 30 long, sorry, the line here as they stretch down line astern, nose to tail across the start-finish line. Look at the crowd pre-COVID, of course. Well, sim racing, we can have as big a crowd as we like because COVID isn't a thing in the sim racing platform. In fact, to be perfectly honest, COVID has been the great saviour of sim racing because everyone's embraced the online platform over the last 12 months. Everyone from IndyCar to NASCAR or anything else.
And COVID actually, Zach, has actually grown the platform of iRacing through to mega amounts.
Yeah.
So, and that's what allows us to bring this amazing stuff to you with all the stuff, all the people racing. So as much as we don't like COVID, if we look from a commentary broadcaster or sim racing thing, it's actually a really great thing for us. So
exactly, there had to be one beneficiary out of sim racing, out of COVID, apart from premiers seeking re-election, and that ended up. And
do I
I'm right.
Do I need to reference your socials again, mate?
Let's not go there.
Right. No, let's not go there.
Let's move along.
Especially after what happened in Western Australia yesterday. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that. Down the back straight lap, 20 out of 117. But yes, sim racing, apart from those premiers that I mentioned, sim racing has been the big beneficiary of COVID. And hopefully, there's been a lot of talk about what iRacing should do with the invested interest or the extra interest that they've generated throughout the course of the last 12 months. Huge talk about them potentially coming to Australia and scanning tracks like Sydney Motorsport Park and Tailem Bend, and I know the wish list just grows from there as to what we'd like to see the platform begin to embrace. Everything from cars, extra manufacturers in TCR, obviously extra tracks right around the country, right around Australia, right around the world. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with their extra revenue out of the last 12 months because they're about the only organisation in the world that's made a significant profit as they come back onto the back straight one more time.
And here we go.
This is quarter race distance right here.
Yeah, definitely, Zach. And sorry to cut you off there. And here we go. We've got the two wide racing. We've got Josh Mickelmore there up on the high line. We've got Justin Witcher down below in the car 10. Justin Witcher actually won Talladega the other night. Come second to Michael Skurlock at Talladega in the ANZAC Cup Series the other night. So he's no mug. He knows how to run around Talladega, but they do have a bit of a gap there between the front. So they really need to start working together to bring themselves back up. But you watch, if they start working together, they're going to really catch the front really, really quickly.
Indeed. And you just notice that front train getting longer and longer and longer. Not this 2x2 stuff. It's 1x1. And that's a mentality or an approach that I think the second queue is starting to take on board here. Look at that. They've gone from being literally 2x2 to a long line of single lane action and then a couple 2x2 at the very back of the queue. It's very hard from back there, but as we've said all along, this race is not going to be one in the first stands of the second or the third. It's going to be one in that last 10 laps.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be one in another hour's time. So really, you're just going to be listening to our voices for the next hour until we start trying to pee ourselves getting excited at the end. So
apologies in advance, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, when we do get to that last 7 laps, I'd advise you to just turn your television down a little bit because otherwise you might get a headache from us.
It's definitely going to get loud. But we see the Sim Rigs car there pushing up in behind. They're doing a good job. But see how I mentioned Josh Mickelmore leading that pack and how quick they are joining that pack to come up. And all going high there is Dave. sorry, I'm doing a lot of this based on the cars that I know. So
You're right.
but we've got Josh there. See how Josh is now pushing up, and now it's just a big long train. So exactly what I said. But some of those Sim Boys guys that ran hard early have dropped back, so they might have made some mistakes through their pit stop.
And
Hey,
Zach,
Andrew, go for it.
I'll just say to you, in the last couple of laps, mate, if you need to go and take a drink or do anything, go for it, because Aiden will take over and you won't get a word in edgewise anyway.
Yeah,
So.
no, that's all good and well. I've trained Aiden into being the stock car expert tonight. So if we need to get the decibels raising here in the last few laps, it'll be yours truly suffering tomorrow morning. And thanks to Strepsils in advance for that. Lap 32 of 117 here. Hey, just quickly, let's. I talk about turning down the volume later in the race. Let's crank it up right now. Whilst they're line astern, whilst there's no real action to speak of in terms of crashes or anything like that, let's take this opportunity to crank up the volume and hear the stock cars hard at work. Weekend Warriors ANZAC Cup, Talladega Superspeedway. Enjoy. Reese May continues to lead the Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup. Thank Christ, that's the first time I haven't tripped over that this evening. As we circulate lap 35 of 117, Zach Caban, Aidan Schultz, Andrew Collins here with you, live and free on a Saturday night on SimShed Broadcasting and the platforms of Real Sim Racing Australasia across YouTube, Facebook, and the like. Wherever you're tuning in around Australia, it is terrific to have your company. And make sure you do let us know where you're tuning in from, so that we get an idea of just how far the reach is of this ANZAC Cup, this inaugural ANZAC Cup for the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship. And of course, don't forget, after a very entertaining week, SimShed Broadcasting is now your new home. Oh, we've got a caution, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
We've got a caution.
What's going on?
Now, I just noticed everyone moving slowly, and we're going to get a simsnap.com My Racing photography replay here for you. Mark Rooney. Oh, no. Trouble with the 18.
That's
Jamie
Jamie
Nankervis.
Nankervis.
Oh, no. We might have to get another shot of that, another replay of that, because we did not see the initial contact. But now we are under caution. We've got our second caution of the night. Aidan Schultz back in here with us. And let's have a look at this. Oh, no. They've come off the bottom line. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
See you later.
Oh no, I'm gonna jump. We're gonna jump on board with Jamie Nankervis now and have a chat with him and see what he thought about that incident and
sounds good.
And see what happened.
That was just bizarre.
Make sure he knows to keep the language down.
We'll have exactly. Language warning, ladies and gentlemen. It's not quite 7:30 in Western Australia at the moment, so apologies in advance. Oh no!
Oh, where's
Oh.
he?
He got squeezed
How's
by the
that happen?
24, and then obviously the car up on the top line was a sitting duck. He had nowhere to go because they just slammed up into him. And
Like that 24's just lost the front end and just driven straight up into the wall there.
everyone's in the lane. Everyone in the lane right now. They're all coming in.
And we'll bring Jamie Nankervis up into the booth at the moment and just have a chat to him and get his view on what happened in that accident. Jamie Nankervis, have you got a copy, mate?
Yeah, got you there, Aiden.
That was a bit unfortunate what happened there. How did it play out from the driver's seat, mate?
Whoever that was on the inside just came straight up, just switched lanes, had nowhere to go.
How's your car looking for damage? Are you right to be able to continue, or how are you looking?
I've got about 5 minutes of optional repairs. It's not quick at the moment. I'll see what I can do during the yellow and see what it does.
Yeah, righto. We did look at that. I didn't really see it because I was off having a bit of a break while the other guys were commentating, and I'd come back into it, but I just saw the 18 car going up high into the wall. So very unfortunate for your race tonight, mate, and hopefully you can get those repairs done and come into the back end of the race and be able to challenge for a solid position.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Here we go.
No worries, mate. Best of luck.
One contender biting the dust, unfortunately. Hey, Aiden, I was just about to say Reese May looks comfortable at the front there. I'll come back to him in just a moment. Let's talk about that. Jamie mentioned 5 minutes of optional repairs. So am I right in assuming, for the benefit of those of you that watch broadcasts of sim racing on any platform where fast repairs are an option, am I right in assuming that there are no fast repairs here?
Definitely no fast repairs.
Copy
So
that.
when he says 5 minutes optionals, he can't come out the pits
No.
he can come out of the pits before the optionals are done, but his car's not going to be quick at all. So he needs to, what he's probably going to do, he's going to take a minute or two, try and stay in front of the pace car, come out, go around again, go back in the pits, try and take more repairs, and then come around again. At least it's not required repairs. Required repairs is where you get the meatball and you're buggered. So optional repairs, he's still okay, but it was really weird to see that and how that happened with someone to be able to pull up and to do that and change lanes, and that was really unfortunate for Jamie, and not only Jamie, the guys on the outside that were sitting ducks, as you mentioned early in the broadcast, of being on the outside. So I did think this thing was going to go green a lot of the way, and I thought it'd spice up with 30 to go, and it's spicing it up with 70 to go. So
Just to jump in there, Aiden, you got say you've got a 5 minute repair like he does. Can you do a 2.5 minute repair and repair some of it, and then do another 2.5 repair in your next pit stop, or do you have to?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. So he can be
Okay.
sitting in the pits, and he can wait until the pace car gets about 10 seconds behind him. He can take a minute worth of damage, optionals,
And they'll
and
fix
he
what
can
they
get
need
that
to.
repaired, and then he can come around and he can go again and take it and still stay on the lead lap. So
Righto. Yeah. So just for all the newbies like myself and anyone watching, it just explains it a bit better.
but it's definitely not going to help his car for the rest of the race.
No.
His car's going to be a dog for the rest of the race. So
Yeah.
And that is so unfortunate. But how much of a disadvantage will it be, Aiden, just quickly to jump in here, how much of a disadvantage will he have just by being in the slipstream? Will it affect him more when he's on his own, or will he still have some disadvantage in the slipstream here?
if he stays in the slipstream and got 3 or 4 minutes of that damage done, he'll be fine. He'll be okay. The car might overheat a little bit, but it's the moment he gets off that slipstream, he's just going to go backwards at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Just repeating the news, ladies and gentlemen, I was in the middle of saying it just as the caution got thrown. If you're joining us for the first time, this is the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship. It is the first time that it's been on SimShed Broadcasting this year, but this is your new home of the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship each and every Saturday night. And we're looking forward to having you with us throughout the course of the season. This is the first running of the Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup. Talladega, we couldn't think of a better venue for it on the eve of one of the most sacred special days on the Australian calendar each and every year. Of course, next tomorrow morning marks the 106th anniversary of the landing in Gallipoli. And, of course, commemorative services happening all around Australia with the exception of Perth and Peel in Western Australia, of course, but we'll get to that later on. Getting set for a restart here. Will Reese May continue to lead from the front? Will someone else fancy a chance? Let's wait and see. It's in his hands. He hits the throttle, he hits the gas and gets going. Away we go. Second restart of the night from Talladega. And a nice clean getaway.
And you watch Paul Jackson here. He's going to try and drop down as soon as he can. He's probably going to drop down into 4th place because he's been on the outside there on the last restart. Oh, no, he's going to drop down into 3rd here. There he goes, right there.
He just had the room to do it, Aiden.
Yeah, he did. And Dave Douglas behind him, I think that's Dave Douglas. He was very, very nice to him on the last restart to let him in. So, and Dave Douglas, if we concentrate on Dave from Mark 1 Esports was actually one of my teammates previously. He is a master of super speedways. So you watch Dave as we get to the end of this race. He's just sitting there and he's waiting. We're only 40 laps into 117. So you watch that 199 car ready to come up at the end and challenge for the win. But there's also another Mark 1 Esports car in behind him as well. And I think that might be Ruben Phelps, who's going to be there and going to be helping him. So, like I said, this is going to change. It's going to ebb and flow the whole way through the race. Don't cut out those Mitch Motorsport guys as well. You see Josh Mickelmore there, probably 12th or 13th. Justin Witcher, who won last night, or the other night, come second, in ANZAC, to my teammate, Michael Skurlock, at Talladega. So there's a lot to play out yet.
Can I just mention two things very quickly here? We've just started the second third of the race. 39 is the third race distance. We've got 3:39 stanzas to get through here to get us to 117. So we've just completed the first lap of the second third of the race. Second thing, what about Darren McKenzie down in 11th position at the moment, boys? He's moved up 27 positions so far. He sits 11th. He's the biggest mover of the night.
Yeah, definitely. Darren's always a really good steerer. He is really, really fast. I've raced against Darren a lot personally. Sometimes, and to his own admission, he will say that he's not the best at saving his tyres and utilising his tyres, but around this speedway, it doesn't really matter, tyre wear. The 1.5 mile ovals and stuff, sometimes it does. But he is definitely a good steerer, Darren, so don't write him off at the end of this one either. He's going to be there or thereabouts.
Back around onto the main straight, another lap in the books, lap 41 of 117. That definitely wasn't mine. Apologies. We're messaging between ourselves at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, trying to relay off-air messages off-air rather than on-air. And someone's not got their phone on silent. Onto the back straight we go. Lap 42 of 117. Reese May, Mark Smith, Paul Jackson, the top three at the moment. We're watching Darren McKenzie in 11th at the moment. He's sandwiched in there. He's got Eli Donaldson for company and Bill Hickey as well. But Dave Trevathan's the car immediately in front of him as they make their way around turn 3 and 4. So, lap 42 of 117. When will the next yellow fall? When will the next sequence of pit stops take place? Will we actually see green flag pit stops, or will Aiden Schultz's prediction go bolting out the window as they cross the line one more time? Lap 43, 2 cautions, one of which was unexpected, and that was the first one. And then obviously the second one, when it's 4 cars getting involved, of course, iRacing's going to throw a caution there. Now, that's the other interesting thing, Aiden, as well. Some racing we watch, and there's select people within the organisation organising the event that look after race control. Sometimes you've got iRacing automatically controlling race control. Which, I assume, given how quickly the yellow was thrown there, that iRacing is looking after the safety car deployments tonight.
Yeah, 100%. It is definitely on iRacing tonight. Sometimes it can be hard if you don't have race control to be able to throw those cautions and to be able to know it. So it is on iRacing tonight. The guys have been really well behaved tonight on a super speedway, and as we mentioned in the pre-race and everything, it is really, really, really hard and difficult to be able to run clean on super speedways. Don't underestimate how much concentration these guys have. As you see a car go low there is so much concentration that goes on for an hour and a half, running 5 millimeters from the back of the car in front of you and rolling off the throttle to be able to try and keep it clean. So, yeah, guys, do not underestimate the amount of pressure these guys are under at the moment. And they're running for trophies. They're running for everything tonight. And without the trophies, like, don't even worry about the trophies. They're running to win the ANZAC Cup, which is the most prestigious thing in the Weekend Warriors League. So every single one of these drivers are going to want to win it.
This is our equivalent of a Daytona 500, essentially. This is the pinnacle. This is the holy grail of this season, this campaign. Yes, the championship's one thing at the end of the season, but given the significance of the title of the event, the ANZAC Cup, everyone wants a piece of this tonight, with thanks to Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine. Also, a huge thanks to Abritzi Australia and the SimShed Broadcasting for their support to make this happen tonight on about 120 hours notice. Around the back of the circuit they go one more time. Reese May, Mark Smith, Paul Jackson, Dave Douglas, and Ryan Campbell, the top 5 here. But we know that's going to ebb and flow as the night goes on. The big mover so far, we've mentioned him a couple of times. He sits down there in 12th. It's Darren McKenzie. He's just been passed by Eli Donaldson, who's up 18, 17 positions in his own right there. So find a dance partner, find someone to work with, because you're gonna need allies. You don't want to make any enemies now, Aiden, because you're going to need your allies. You're going to need your friends when we get to lap 111, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17.
100% you do, Zach. 100% you do. But just keep an eye on Josh Mickelmore here. He's a little wily old fox, as I'd like to call him. He's one of the best Cup car drivers that I've seen, that I've raced against, and he's always at the front. So you just watch him. He's just going to bide his time here, and don't be surprised if he gets up there at the end. See how they're there trying to use that side draft. That black car's trying to use the side draft. Josh probably don't want to overheat at the moment and get too close in front of him. But that high line's starting to work pretty well, which is going to pull up on the back of those Mark 1 Esport cars on the inside. But we'll see how it goes, because like I said, we didn't know whether we're going to run 2 wide or 3 wide with the new updates, but it looks like they're able to do it so far.
Well, we haven't seen too much 3 wide running thus far, but that is still to come, I'm sure. It is doable on this super speedway. There's a full lane in the middle that's hardly being used at the moment. You can see the guys in the second lane now. They were somewhere halfway between the middle lane and the top lane at the moment. Obviously, the middle lane suits them better than the top lane, because at least there you've got a little bit of wriggle room. If you're in the top lane and you get a foot wrong, you're in the wall, you're in the concrete. So across the line we go at the end of 47.
And if I was, sorry, mate, if I was in the 93 car, I'd be pulling the car down and trying to use that side draft a lot more. He's balking that top line. He needs to bring that car down a little bit closer to that inside line and try and use that side draft to pull that top line up, because if he keeps staying up there that high, as you see how high he goes on exit there, if he comes down and uses that side draft, it's going to pull that top line all the way up. Otherwise, they're just going to run around there and they're not going to make any movements at all.
So we wait and see what might happen next. There's still a few verses and chapters to be written here. A few more twists and tales as yet. And, of course, the cruelest sting in the tail could come on lap 117. Now, Aiden, you know this series better than I do. Was I right when I said we do have the potential for overtime? Will they have a green-white checker system in place here, or will this end on lap 117 if a caution is thrown?
No, they'll definitely have a green-white checker, and it'll only be one. So if we do have a caution at lap 116, then it will be a green-white checker, but they'll only have one chance at it. So if we do have a green-white checker, the next flag will end the race.
All right, excellent, great stuff. Hey, Reese Belitho's in the lane at the moment. He's out now, but he's down in 39th. Duran, Belitho, Jordan, Nankervis, and Donnelly. Well, Donnelly's out of the race, 27 laps down. But we've got Durand a lap down, 2 laps down for Belitho. Jordan's 5 laps down, Nankervis 6 laps down. So not even the lucky dogs are going to help them at the moment. Durand will get a lap back and get back on the lead lap, but the others are toast at this point in time, because we're not going to get enough cautions to invite them back in, I wouldn't think. So it's just a case of continuing to circulate, hope that you can get some championship points, and maybe, as cruel as it sounds, hope for a little bit of misfortune for those around you so that you can gain a couple of positions that way. The old by default way, if we can call it that, Aiden.
Yeah, definitely. they're going to be hoping for a caution and get the wave around, but around a super speedway like this, it's going to be a tough road back for them. But if they keep circulating, we don't know what's going to happen. We're not even halfway through yet, so anything can happen. If they keep circulating and they get the wave around and use it and get their damage repaired, they could be up there fighting for the win at the end.
Indeed, they could be. All right, we continue to soldier on here. Lap 51 of 117.
What I'm going to do here, Zach, I'm sorry.
Just before you go, Aiden, I was going to say, Reese May, I've never seen someone so content. Normally you see lead changes. Normally you see a little bit of jockeying and a little bit of sway and swagger in terms of, okay, I've led for a little bit. You pick up the slack. You take the fuel burn. I'll drop back. There's been none of that tonight. May's just been willing and content to lead this from the front.
100% he has. And funny you say that, because I was about to segue into actually bringing Reese up into the booth and actually see what he's thinking at the front, because if it was me, I would not like to be there. So I'd like to get a little bit of an insight to what he's thinking. So I'm going to bring him up into the booth now.
All right.
And we'll have a chat to Reese as he goes around and see how his race is unfolding. Reese May, Aiden, and Zach from the broadcast booth, mate. Have you got a copy?
Yeah, man.
Mate, you've been running out the front all night. I've been saying on the broadcast, running out the front with your fuel's probably not the best idea. You were lucky with a couple of cautions there. Are you comfortable at the front there? Do you think your fuel's going okay? Do you need to drop back? How's your race going for the viewers, mate?
Fuel is an issue, not going to lie. But it's safer at the front. Cautions are falling my way. I'd rather be up here out of the mess and pit 1 or 2 laps early if I have to.
Are you concerned if you do pit 1 or 2 laps earlier that you're going to get left out to dry because of the undercut that people are going to do with the draft?
Yeah, I am, but I can't see it going green the whole race.
Not at all. I just jump in here as well, Aiden, to ask Reese this question, mate. Given that you are leading from the front, given that you've said it's safer to be up there, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because if you drop back, you run the risk of getting caught in someone else's mess. But if you're running at the front, as you've already touched on, it's a fuel-saving issue, isn't it?
Indeed it is. I think it's the lesser of two evils.
That's a very good way of looking at it, I would have thought, Aiden.
Yeah, definitely. It is the lesser of two evils. I always said from the start, like, if it was me, I wouldn't have liked to be at the front, but I do understand, Reese, why you're up there, because... it can get a bit messy, but the fuel burn at the front, you're sort of just dragging everyone else along. So hopefully your strategy works. You're having a really clean race at the moment. It's really good to call. So again, from the broadcast team here, thank you for allowing us to hop on board in your car, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the race.
No worries. Cheers, fellas.
It's amazing to me, Aiden, given everything that's on the line tonight, how revered this race has become in its inaugural year. And you know, when you got something special on your hands, when there's so many people eager from the outset. And I've seen it a couple of times in the real world with certain events that have been first times that I've been lucky enough to be involved in. It's amazing how calm all these guys have been as we've jumped on board with them tonight.
Yeah, they might sound calm, but from a driver that does this every week, I can tell you it's intense. So the fact that they're allowing us to come on board with them and be able to talk to them while they're in, as I say, Mortal Kombat, it's amazing. It's amazing because, like I've said previously on this broadcast, it's not that easy. It really is not that easy. It is intense. And the force feedback they've got coming through the wheel, to be able to concentrate, having the driver pushing you on behind you, having the feeling of the car behind you, especially
from the back
behind.
Is that 1 or 2 cars involved? I saw a lot of smoke being kicked up at the back there, and that's going to create another caution, I would imagine.
And that has definitely just gone back of what Reese has just said where we've been
exactly
in car.
Right. Oh, the 75 got shafted.
Nicholas Marriott absolutely sent into the wall.
Here's a second look. Marriott.
Oh, Nicholas moved line.
Oh, no. Got help from the 00.
Yeah, Nicholas did move up, though, and change lines. So that was on Nicholas then to make sure he was clear. So unfortunate for Nicholas, and we know how easy that is to do and not be able to judge where your car is. And that was a really big shunt for him. So that's really unfortunate for Nicholas.
Indeed. And Mark Johansson, of course, the car in question there in the 00. Right now, here's the thing, Aidan. We haven't talked too much about this. Obviously, we talk about where the penalties are outlaid tonight. We've spoken about this off air, and I had the notes here, and it's one thing we didn't mention on air as yet. But, of course, I don't know where we are with regards to incident points, but 12x equals a drive-through, 17x equals a stop-go for these guys. If you get to 22x's, we see the charge for pit lane again. Third stop, and we're not quite halfway yet. 22x equals disqualification. Now, do we have an internal race control that will look at incidents like what we just saw? And if so, how do they view incidents like that, or is it an iRacing thing?
It's definitely all done on iRacing, Zach.
Okay. So there's no internal in-race control from an organisation standpoint, from a manual standpoint. Okay.
No, it's definitely all through iRacing. So I'd probably suggest that Nicholas got a 4X then, having that incident. But his race is now pretty much done with how hard he hit the wall. When you're talking about when you got no fast repairs or anything like that, especially around a super speedway, any type of damage is really going to hurt you. But they're now transitioning out of the pits, and we've got Dave Douglas that has come out the super speedway, and he's up 15 positions.
Yeah, he's climbed up. I mean, he's climbed up 15 positions from where he started, of course, from 16th on the grid. So he's now got the whole shot. Mark Smith, Ryan Campbell, rather. I'm still calling him Ryan, and yet I know that the E and the Y are the other way around. Dave Trevathan, Darren McKenzie, and Hayden Millington make up the top 7 at the moment. Jaden Draper. Now, Reese May's dropped to 10th in all of that. And again, it was a longer fuel stop for him, 14.7 seconds as opposed to 8, 9, and 10 around him.
Definitely. And while we're under yellow, let's change it up again to give the viewers a little bit of a different content. Let's have a chat to Dave Douglas under yellow and see how he's going, because he's made 14, 15 spots. And let's have a chat to him. Dave Douglas, Aidan and Zach from the commentary booth, mate. Have you got a copy?
Yeah, got a copy, boys.
Mate, what an amazing race so far from the Super Speedway, as we'd like to say, master. You're up 15, 16 spots, mate, into P2 at the moment, I think, from what we're looking. How's the race looking from your end?
Yeah, going pretty good, mate. Just keeping the nose clean and just staying on that bottom line, because that sort of obviously gives me an option if there's anything to happen in front. But, yeah, right now, I haven't taken tyres yet. I don't feel the need for it, but, yeah, I'll be restarting in first here, so that's good.
So do you think that's how you jumped Reese May and stuff through that pit stop? The guys in front of you took tyres and you didn't?
Definitely Reese took tyres. Mark didn't. Ryan probably didn't, and Paul wouldn't have taken tyres either, because we were pretty...
Well, the Mark 1 Esports car's going really well tonight. Ruben going all right as well. So really good to see you guys at the front. Zach, anything you want to jump in and chat to Dave about before he goes green?
It just goes back to what we were saying, doesn't it? Track position is king, and David's been able to get that track position by virtue of the pit stop sequence. So that could be another one of those chapter verse twist in the tail that we're talking about, Aidan, in the sense that now we've got a new leader. It's the first time tonight where Reese May's been buried in the pack. Interesting dynamic in this next little sequence here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were talking to me, but
No,
yeah,
you're right.
I'll just I'll lead away here and see where we end up. I don't know whether to start early or wait for the green to jumble this pack up, because I want to make it enticing for you boys. So I might just wait till the green flag drops and we'll get some side-by-side racing going there for you.
Good boy. I like your stop.
Mate, you do what you like, but we'll have fun calling it either way. But from me and Zach and all the team and everyone, best of luck for the rest of the race, and hopefully we can talk to you in the broadcast booth at the end.
Yeah, spot on. Cheers, boys.
No worries. See you, mate.
Just after 9:15 on the east coast, 7:15 on the west coast, 9:45 in the middle of Australia, and of course 11:15 over there in the land of the long white cloud. This ANZAC Eve 2021. Great to have your company wherever you're tuning in. Do let us know where you're tuning in from, what you're making of the broadcast thus far, what you're making of the race, rather, not so much criticizing what we're doing, but what you're making of the race, I'd rather like to know about, via the platforms on YouTube and Facebook across SimShed Broadcasting and Real Sim Racing Australasia. Make sure you let us know where you're tuning in from and what you're making of what you've seen thus far. This is round 11 of the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship. The pace car getting ready to move off once more. That's the third one of the night. And we have just completed, this is the end of lap 58. 58 down, 59 to go. So we are virtually halfway there. Halfway around this next lap is half race distance, ladies and gentlemen. Take a big, deep breath because we are about to go back to green. Dave Douglas has control of the field. Mark Smith's on edge. They're all ready to go. They're all ganging up and banging up on the back of one another at this point in time. Let's go back to green at the Talladega Superspeedway. Monstrous crowd on deck to enjoy this. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in all around Australia. Already one car, maybe two, jumping down to that bottom line. They want that position. That bottom line's been the place to set them up tonight. And have a look at this. Jackson, 2, 3, 1 up the outside, makes it 3 wide. He might be a sitting duck at the moment.
He's going to get hung out to dry here. Sorry, we're talking over each other, but it's exciting.
It certainly is, and he has just lost a swagger positions there. Jackson, the sitting duck, no one went with him. I suspect, Aiden, but when we get to the last 5, 6 laps of the race, he might have 3 or 4 mates work with him and go with him to the top line, but not much.
Where are we going? Are we going to get another yellow again?
What a save that was if we don't get another yellow. Across the line.
Yeah, he saved it.
What a moment.
Red car just sending it down into the inside wall.
Simsnap.com replay.
Talk us through it. Oh, no, 2 cars. But they somehow saved it.
Oh, look at that.
What a save.
2, 3, 4 shunts, and now the 26 loses it into the wall, and that might trigger the caution.
That was Billy Hickey. No, it didn't trigger the caution. They're going to go green.
Unbelievable. What luck. Not for Hickey, but for the rest of us. Because nothing worse than having one safety car on top of the other, Aiden, because that you lose the momentum. At least here, we've had it broken up into 3 or 4 different stanzas so far.
Yeah, definitely. And again, another good thing for Reese May. I reckon he's the one that we need to look out for here. He's the one that's going to come for it. But
count the casualties so far, Aiden. I mean, Hickey, Marriott's back out there, but Hickey's gone. Duran, Bolitho, Jordan, Nankervis, Donnelly. There's been some big names drop out already.
100% there has, and that's Super Speedway. You can't control that. I've got nothing more to say on that at Super Speedway. You can see here you've got the front pack just trying to get away now, and you've got the DPR Simrigs cars at the back of it. So a lot of these guys that are in the front now, they know how to run Super Speedway and know how to run oval, and they don't want to get caught up in that stuff early. So they're going to be the players. But again, the wily old Fox, Josh Mickelmore, you see leading the outside road there in the 31 car. Don't be surprised he's going to get there at the end, but we're only halfway there.
Across the line we go. Lap 62. Yeah, we're just past halfway. If you're just joining us, the best is yet to come from Talladega. Don't worry about that. Douglas, he's maintained the lead off the restart. No one's been keen to challenge him for that position. And it's a case of, as you saw, when Jackson went to the high line, no one went with him. That inside line is where you want to be, and unless you've got 3 or 4 that want to work with you and push you around the high side, if you've got the whole shot there in the lead position of that lower line, you're going to have the lead until you want to give it up, and until you do give it up, as they make their way back around on the main straight one more time. Look at them hugging the out-of-bounds zone on the run down over the tri-oval section of the circuit, Aiden.
And what you can see here, Zach, is you've got Mickelmore there, who's a king of oval racing, and he's going to use the side draft here. So this is the difference of having someone that's knowing what they're doing, and see how he's making that outside work. You watch. Yep. He'll come down lower. He won't ride it up so high. He'll come down, use that side draft. See how they're slowly getting up. He's a little bit higher than what I would be. But see how they're going around the outside now. That's the difference in knowing how to do oval racing. Whereas when they tried to do the outside lane earlier, they sort of went backwards. They had nothing. So see how he's going down, trying to use that side draft through the corner? and then he's going to come up and get that run. Don't be surprised. See that run he's getting. Don't be surprised the next 3 or 4 laps if he jumps the leader and goes down. As soon as he jumps the leader, I'll guarantee you he will drop down in the first place.
I love that this platform on Discord has a channel called Medical Center. So a couple of drivers in there at the moment. Marriott and Hickey out of the race, gone, and they're in the medical center just trying to probably drown their sorrows at this point in time, I would suggest. Lap 64 of 117. We've got them in the booth now. Nick Marriott, Billy Hickey. It's Zach and Aiden in the booth. You've got us?
Yeah, mate. Gotcha. Loud and clear.
Unlucky, boys. Talladega's always a raffle, a lottery draw of, for lack of better words. It's always one of those ones fraught with danger, and unfortunately, just past halfway, you guys are a couple of the casualties. I'll start with you, Billy. What happened, please?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of checking up going on very early in the race, and it just made things a little bit uncomfortable, especially into turns 3 and 4. And yeah, just after that restart there's a big check up into 3, and the 145 shot around the outside. He didn't need to stay there because I think we're about 3 or 4 wide through that corner, and then yeah, just aero sort of aero washed into him and went into the wall and went into the walls. I'd rather have gone into the wall and not been put in the wall. But hey,
I'll come back to you guys in just a moment. You can notice that a couple of guys have now opted for that middle line here, Aiden. So they're now working in tandems. They want to go 2 by 2. They want to make a race of this. They're all getting a little bit antsy on edge the closer we get to lap 117. That's an observation that we'll keep an eye on as we talk to Nick here. We've got Billy's side of the story. Nick, what happened to you, please?
nothing to do with Billy actually. So just before that caution came out, I was making my way up through the field. Started about 32nd. I was in the top 20, just making my way up, and it was kind of 3 lines forming. I was trying to hustle up high for a bit, so I decided to come down low, and I saw a gap open up, turned up, and I was actually taken out by what's his name, Mark, the double O. Yeah. Yep. So a bit unfortunate, but all credit to the boys, all Jaden Draper, Eli Donaldson, and Ryan Campbell, Team Kamikaze. So, see how we go. Hopefully one of those boys can put the chockies in the fridge and bring it home.
Yeah. I don't mean to jump in here, Zach. Sorry to jump you off, but
right.
The outside line's really starting to work now. We've got Jock Nickelmore and his teammate Hamish Gallagher right behind him. And I said about that side draft, and if you've got people that know how to use that, they're going to really be able to make that work, and they're doing that at the moment.
Hey, Aiden, I want to get you to ask the boys a question in a moment, but just to go off something they said, I mentioned earlier that if you want to go from the bottom line to the top line, they're not as courteous as they are on the M1. They will block that merge if they don't want you to come up in front of them. And unfortunately, that's what happened there to Nick by the sounds of it. It's just a case of you've got to be able to trust the guys around you. And on that occasion, Nick ran out of trust from his colleagues.
Yeah, definitely. When you're running from the bottom and you want to come up to the top, it's all on you on the bottom to be able to make sure that you're clear to be able to come up, because the guys, especially on the top, are generally running 5 to 10 kilometres or mile an hour, whichever way you want to put it faster. So you need to make sure you put your car in a position early to be able to do it. It's really hard to judge, especially in sim racing. So there's no disrespect there on anything, but if you want to come from low to high, you need to make sure you got plenty of room, and then the guys behind you are going to have to check up. So it's just part of it, to be honest. It's part of racing, it's part of positioning your car, and it's very unfortunate that Nick, you got involved in an accident, man. It's really bad, but hopefully we come back next week and we get to talk to you.
Yeah, mate, that's it. Just before I get kicked out of this commentary booth, I'd just like to say a big thanks to Mark. Been really helpful, getting me into this league. It's actually on my second race tonight, so it's been very welcoming, and I'm glad that he put his hand up and said that it was his fault for that accident. As a league owner, it's something, or as he is a league owner, it's something that it's good to see that they're a part of it and they're amongst everyone in the league.
Yeah, mate. It's definitely a community league, and really good to see you in there. And I know I said, they're like, it's up to the person on the inside to come up, but it's easy for us to sit up here as commentators and say that, but we're not in the car. But Mate, amazing drive tonight from you to second drive in to be doing what you're doing and doing everything. It's been great to commentate on you, and we look forward to talking to you more in the future.
Yeah, I actually got I fired up my sim about 15 minutes before qualifying started because I was at QR all day, crewing for a car in sports sedans. So, pretty
big
hectic.
day up there as well because they're now trying to cram everyone in like a pack of sardines and run 2 days worth in one. Hectic, isn't it?
It was hectic. Yep, that's it.
Well, more to say on that a little bit later. In the meantime, boys, anything else you want to ask these guys while they're here, Aiden?
I'm good, Billy. Billy, you did say to me though, I could jump on board with you during the race where I put that comment on Weekend Warriors, and unfortunately, we're talking while you're in the in-care centre. So, sorry, mate.
Oh, jeez, a little moment there. Sorry, boys. Breen Campbell and Josh Micklemore bumping panels side by side on the way down to the first corner. Now the elbows are out, boys. This is going to get interesting. While I've got you, Billy and Nick, before we let you go, have you got a tip here? If you've got your money on anyone at this particular point, who's it got to be?
Micklemore, 100% Micklemore. He'll come out on top. He always does.
All right, copy that.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be one of the kamikaze boys. It's going to be Rain Campbell. It's going to be Jaden Draper. It's going to be Eli Donaldson. I don't care who it is. It's going to be a 1, 2, 3 kamikaze. We're bringing home the Tockies.
Oh, the 92 in behind. Oh, my God. It's getting on. I do have my opinion, but I'm a commentator, so I can't. But we'll let you guys go. Thank you for jumping into the broadcast booth.
And, Cheers very much, guys.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. All the best for ANZAC Day tomorrow as well. Micklemore, the leader for the first time tonight. The high line is the place to be.
And didn't I say that?
72. Well picked, Aiden Schultz as they go through the first corner. Have a look at Hamish pushing Micklemore all the way around.
Once Hamish.
That's Gallagher, yeah. I mean, that's extraordinary. And Douglas is sitting there on the bottom line. He feels like a sitting duck at the moment because the outside's going up on him.
Once Hamish is clear, you watch these two drop down. There we go. Bang, straight up.
Like clockwork, stripped it. Beautiful.
Well called, Aiden.
In fact, the third one went with him as well. That was Mark Smith. He jumped down as well. Dave, we mentioned Darren McKenzie. He's up 34 spots. He's in fourth at the moment, if you don't mind. Watch McKenzie.
Oh, my God.
50 laps.
I was peeing myself last night, and we've got 40 laps to go, and I'm already jumping off my chair. This is exciting. I can't wait for the end of this.
Oh, boy. And we've still got a couple of pit stops to come our way. No doubt a couple of cautions as well. Stay with us, Australia. Lots more to come here tonight, and New Zealand as well. You do not want to switch off this magnificent Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup inaugural edition. Andrew.
Don't forget the 2 Americans we've got running as well.
Oh, of course. And middle of the day in some parts of America. It's 7:30 on the East Coast and about 4:30 a.m. on the West Coast in America. So if you're up burning the midnight oil on the West Coast, good morning to you. And, of course, on the East Coast, well, it's the start of Saturday over there, 7:30 a.m. Good morning to you as well. And, of course, a very good afternoon to those of you watching throughout Europe. Our broadcast here on SimShed Broadcasting as they come across the line. Lap 74, still 54 laps to go. And these guys are going at it as though it's the last 5 laps. But now they've settled into a rhythm. The top 5 have dropped down. It's now a case of the top line is no longer the place to be. It was for about 5 or 6 laps. Now, Micklemore, Gallagher, Smith, they've all dropped down in front of Douglas there, who led from the front as he said he would, but not for as long as he would have liked to.
No, definitely not. But he's going to be, he's a wise old fox as well. He loves the super speedways. He's going to be sitting there just conserving his fuel, watching what the Mitch Motorsport guys do, and he's going to follow whatever they do. But like I said, I knew that the outside line with those guys that know how to side draft, they were going to get the run. And as soon as they got in front, they were going to drop down because the fastest line is the low line. So that did definitely happen. But we've got the guys behind them that are just going to sit there now and wait. There's a lot to play out yet.
Don't worry, folks. It's the virtual world. So that's why people are sitting shoulder to shoulder and not wearing masks at the moment. Although I'm sure, given how clever iRacing is becoming, especially now that Barney's back on deck and actually doing his job, I no doubt there will be an option that you can click or unclick as you're setting up your server where spectators will be wearing masks or they'll be unmasked. I'm sure that'll be an option soon enough in the iRacing land. Lap 75 of 117 onto the main straight. Mickelmore, Gallagher, Smith, Douglas, Campbell, the top 5. I've got my eyes on Mackenzie, who's dropped back down to 9th, but 29 positions gained from him thus far. Biggest mover of the night. We're on lap 76. Couple of big contenders already out of the race here, but so many more still searching for glory tonight.
And have a look at that freight train.
ANZAC Cup.
And have a look at that freight train behind Zach. Like when we just went to that rear shot before, the freight train is just there. So don't be surprised. This is where the race is going to settle down for a little bit, because they're going to come into another pit stop shortly. They're going to settle down. See how that's just a big freight train. They're going to settle down, get into the rhythm, get going. By the time that they can go green to the end, which is going to be roughly around about 95 laps, you watch it heat up. It's going to go on like Donkey Kong.
I actually thought, while we had the boys in the booth just then doing those interviews, I actually thought the elbows were starting to come out, and I thought we were actually going to have our big one of the night. But no, that is still to come, although we had a big one in qualifying, as you saw at the start of the broadcast as well.
We had it under roll-up lap. But
exactly. Mickelmore up 26 positions, Gallagher up 29. We knew qualifying wouldn't be hugely important here. That was scary. For the car that just popped out there. That was a glitchy moment. You wouldn't want your internet to fly up now, would you?
No, definitely not.
Look at that. All like a train, just line after line after line.
And like I said there, Andrew, they're literally, I've raced with these guys week in, week out. They are sitting there and just waiting. They are just going to follow the leader for the next 20 or 30 laps, or until they need to pit, and then they're going to go for it. The moment they have enough fuel to go to the end, then it's on. Because there's no point in them racing now.
I was going to say too, patience. Patience is such a virtue here. But some of the guys that are sitting back there 8, 9 and 10, they don't want to be there come lap 111. You want to be up top 4, top 5. Lap 111, 112. You don't want to leave your run too late. So it's about patience for the first 110 laps or 100 laps. And then it's about being frantic and knowing where you need to be. And that's the key to this race. You've got to run it in stanzas. You've got to run it in little incremental bits and pieces, because it's going to be dictated by cautions and pit stops. And the longer we go here, lap 56 was the last time these guys pitted. So we're 23 laps into a stint. Don't be surprised if we start getting green flag pit stops in just a couple of moments.
We will get a green flag pit stop, and this is going to be decided on a green flag pit stop on how these guys transition in and out of the pits. They're not going to be able to run to the end from here, though, I don't think.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. It's going to be they're going to need a slash and dash, or they're going to need caution after caution and bulk fuel saving. Oh,
so
boy.
You say about people back in 20th or whatever, if they can transition through the pit stop, they might get up into the top 4. This is going to be really interesting. I'm really excited to see what happens here and who, because your whole race can be ruined by ruining your pit stop right now. So they need to transition the pit lane really well.
They need to be able to hit the speed limiter when they hit the line. They need to be able to hit their box. They cannot afford to lose tenths or mere.
And the difference here, Zach, sorry to cut you off. They don't have a speed limiter in the stock cars, mate. They've got to do it by throttle.
They've got to do it manually, so to speak. They've got to be a little bit more smart about it. So they don't have that assistance. It's like. It's like manual racing. Rather than having everything there on a button for you, like what we see in supercars or GT3 racing, you've got to do it the hard way. You've got to earn your yakka.
I actually think I've told you the wrong thing there. They might actually have an automated one. But anyway, it's definitely not that easy to transition through pit lane. But I'll let you keep concentrating on the front there and take away.
I was going to say also your point earlier about being in the commentary box, not having the opinion. Well, that's me, because I don't have the iRacing experience. You being the iRacing experience man that we've got in the booth here, it's all for you to sit there and have an opinion. That's why we've got you here tonight. There's no doubt about that. Josh Mickelmore sitting there in position number 1 at the moment, content to be the leader. Gallagher's right there behind him, pushing him along. Smith, Douglas, Campbell, Millington. Then the 35, Josh Carroll, JCW, he's having a great run there as well. And then you go back to Stephen Williams, Darren McKenzie, and Dave Trevathan making up the top 10. Trevathan's dropped 7 positions tonight, but he's still right there in 10th, ready to have a crack in the closing stages of this race. Again, we're only in the third quarter here. If you're playing an AFL game, we're only in the third quarter. When we get to lap 90 or 89, that's when we start focusing on getting things done. Because unlike an AFL grand final where they say the third quarter is premiership quarter, the tail end of the fourth quarter is where this race is going to be run.
Well, Zach, this is where you need to start kicking your behinds because
Exactly.
going into the fourth quarter, you need to start kicking those G's. So
Nicely done.
If you want to do it, you need to kick your behinds now. So these guys need to just keep it patient, kick those behinds, as you say, in AFL. And
that comes back to, just to continue the pun there, you don't want to shoot and miss in the last quarter.
Definitely. You don't want to throw in. No.
If you shoot and miss, you're in the wall. And that's the problem in the last quarter of this race. Whereas now, if you shoot and miss, you can redeem it. It's salvageable.
I love that. I love that AFL call there, Zach. Being a Victorian and living in Sydney now, moving back to Victoria, it's all NRL up here, which I call throw ball instead of football. They don't kick it, so I don't know why they call it football.
Well, Andrew, I'm in Queensland, so it's NRL. So anyway.
Yeah. Let's get back to
I just needed to jump that in there, boys.
We'll have that debate at the end of the broadcast. I'm impartial. I like both. I've been to AFL games as a spectator. I've been to NRL games as a spectator.
Yes,
they both have their pros and cons. There's no doubt about that. But
anyway, let's get back to the racing, boys.
Lap 83 comes lap 84. Mickelmore in first position at the moment. And if you're wondering why there's sometimes a little bit of talking over the top of one another, ladies and gentlemen, we're not sitting side by side. I can't bang these guys on the shoulder and tell them to shut up. I've got to do it by talking over the top of them. That's the joys of working in the virtual world. Aidan and I are in Queensland. Andrew is working with us from New South Wales tonight. JP's on the Sunshine Coast. It's literally a nationwide broadcast effort to get this done. Lap 84 of 117. The 31 is there. We've got a car in pit lane at the moment. 37th position, Reece Bolitho. Out of contention because he's well down. He's, he's about 6 laps down, Bolitho. 4 laps down, but about to go 5 laps down. Is Reece Bolitho there. My apologies. So it's not been a great night for him, but we've got Mickelmore and Gallagher working together at the front of the field as you said they would, Aidan. You've read it to a T thus far.
Yeah, I've raced with these guys a lot. I know what they're doing, but we've still got some pit stops to go and we're really close to the end. So seeing how this is going to play out, it's going to be really good. There's a lot of fast guys behind them. I can guarantee you we're going to be on the edge of our seat on lap 117. But what I will do, I'll hand over the commentary to Andrew and yourself for a little while to get Andrew up in the booth and let him commentate and get amongst it with you, and I'll jump back on in the next 10 laps or so.
Copy that, mate. No worries. Aidan Schultz, ladies and gentlemen, doing a superb job with us tonight. He is our stock car expert. That's why we have him on board. It's imperative that we have someone that understands these cars, these drivers, this series in the broadcast, because it just makes it sound a little bit more intelligent and informed, and I hope we're achieving that for you tonight. If you're enjoying the broadcast, remember to flick the pages of SimShed Broadcasting and Real Sim Racing Australasia alike. Follow all the other action that we bring you throughout the course of the season. As I say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday night, right here, SimShed Broadcasting. Down the back straight they go. Andrew, as someone that sat there relatively quietly over the first 86 laps, because it's hard to get a word in with that and I.
That's all right. That's all right.
What are your thoughts going into this final stanza? Because I have to say, I hate agreeing with commentators because it makes things sound predictable, but I understand exactly everything as we see green flag pit stops. Here we go.
Here we go.
It's critical. I'll come back to you in a moment, Andrew.
You're right.
And they're all on the brakes hard as they come into the lane. This brake's glowing as they make their way in. The safety car parked on a weird angle there at the moment. And now we have a swag of cars in the lane. Ryan Campbell, Jaden Draper, Chris Finlay, Greg Spencer, Raymond Jager, Nigel Patton, Josh Mickelmore, Hamish Gallagher, Eli Donaldson, and Jason Nicholas, all in the pit lane right now.
Yeah, they're doing well. And I sat in with Aidan.
Fourth of the night for them.
I sat in with Aidan last night and following one of the races, and he does get very excited. Knows these cars inside and out, back to front. and all the drivers and that very well. So he's perfect person to have on board.
Now here come the second batch. Stephen Williams continues on for another lap. Mark Smith comes in. Hayden Millington, Dave Douglas, Josh Carroll, JCW, of course. Dave Trevathan's in. Reese May, Paul Jackson, Gary Wellman. Then, of course, Daniel Aguilera Bates, Ruben Phelps, Darren McKenzie, the man that's moved up more than anyone tonight. He's in the lane right now. But Stephen Williams is going on and getting a 23rd lap out of his stint. He of course, pitted on lap 56. We've got someone in the wall coming into the pit lane. They used their pit box. I'm not sure who it was. We'll have a look. Might have been Gary Wellman.
See if we can get a sim snap replay.
He's been in the pit lane longer than anybody there, Andrew, Gary Wellman. So it might have been him.
Might be.
And we've got Steve Williams in the pits right now.
So Stephen Williams. Oh, geez. Hey, Andrew, I mean, how do you see this last quarter playing out? What are your thoughts? I mean, who's impressed you so far? Who hasn't impressed you, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I don't know that anyone hasn't impressed me, to be honest with you, Zach. They're all doing a very, very good job. The way we had the camera set up before, where it just showed them all line in train, they're all doing a very good job. It's pretty much gone green to green, hasn't it? We haven't had too many yellow flags. Been very clear and clean driving, if I can get that out properly. Yeah, it's a very hard race to call.
Oh dear, very good stuff. Now,
and as we see here,
this adds an interesting dynamic to it. Aiden, I'm going to try and lead you into a point here. This adds an interesting dynamic to it to see where everyone filters out after this green flag cycle, because it's the first time tonight that we've had a green flag cycle and they've come in two different loads rather than all in at once. So this is going to be interesting to see whether they all come out together or whether we're all separated.
Yeah, and the Mitch Motorsport guys here of Josh Mickelmore and Hamish Gallagher have really set themselves up. But Hamish is a little hung out to dry there. He wanted to come down to be able to drop down with Josh, but they're going to run that high line, and that's worked for them lately in the race. So they're very, very strong. These two guys are going to work really hard and push to the end. They do have the Mark 1 Esports car in behind them, which I believe is Dave Douglas. Which is going to sit in behind them and work with them as we see him just drop low there. So those two Mitch Motorsport guys might get hung out to dry here. We've got the DPR car in behind there that's trying to get the run up high. We've got JCW in second there, or second in relative. I don't know.
Oh, geez, the tailing moment there.
That was close, wasn't it?
There we go. They needed to come low. That's exactly what I knew that they wanted to do. They wanted to come low because they were going to get hung out to dry.
That was Gallagher and Douglas, I think, that came together there. It was very close between them. Now, the car in 8th, the last one in that lead pack there is Reese May, the man that led so much of the opening half of this race. What can he do as we get to the final quarter now?
Well, I'm going to bring Reese May up, and we're going to have a chat with him before he gets too intense. And
that's a good idea. Yeah, before it goes off the scale.
And have a look and see how he is going. So I'll just find Reese at the moment. And
second pack also, Aiden, while you do that. Second pack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars. 6 on the low line, and now that 7th is tucked in as well. That's Daniel Aguilera Bates as well. Getting the field across the line again. 7 in the second pack, 8 in the lead pack at the moment, but they're gapped by about 3 or 4 seconds here. And that's the biggest margin of the night.
I'm just going to bring Reese May up now, and we'll have a chat and see how he's going. Reese May, have you got a copy from the broadcast booth?
Yeah, man.
Mate, amazing start to the race. You led most of the race, and now you're down in 8th, and or you're the front of that pack behind, trying to push forward. How are you feeling coming into the back of this? Do you think you're going to be able to drag up onto the back of those guys?
Not sure. That they're not being super straight behind me, but I picked up a bit of damage. I got tapped on the entry pit lane.
Oh no.
Oh, that's terrible, mate. That's terrible. But How's the car feeling though? Does it still feel like how's your relative looking? Is it looking like you're pulling on the cars in front, or is it staying pretty stagnant?
It's pretty stagnant. They're pulling away now. We were gaining on them, but they just got their act together now.
Yeah, righto. Well, you did a really good job leading the whole race at the start, and you actually you led the field and did an amazing job. So hopefully you guys can push up to the back of those leaders, and maybe you might get a yellow to be able to challenge for the end. But again, thank you for allowing us to get on board with your car, mate. Yeah, I know it's a really stressful environment around the super speedway, and we really appreciate you allowing us to get on board and showing what it's like to be inside a car around a super speedway and giving the viewers something different.
Yeah, no worries. I actually think if this stays green, it's going to come down to who can save the fuel. We might be able to catch it out.
So how much fuel you got left, mate?
I can't do it because I'm leading this pack, but if someone at the back of that front pack could save enough.
How much have you got at the front of the lead pack? How many laps you got left?
24.
Yeah, copy. All right, it's definitely going to come down to a fuel save here. So, but thank you for allowing us to drop into your car again, mate, and best of luck towards the end of this one. No, we got no idea what's going to happen, so just keep pushing ahead, and yeah, thanks again, mate.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much to you as well. 23 to go as they cross the line. Now, this screams, if we get a caution, everyone comes in just to give themselves that assurance, that little that invoice of we can get there on fuel. They'll come in, they'll take the smallest top up humanly possible to get themselves to the line, because as you just heard, it is touch and go.
Definitely is. I would much rather be in Josh's car at the moment to save all the fuel he can. And you'll see him back off a little bit. You got JCW there. I would definitely not like to be the number 7 car at the moment, but he's going to get a little bit of a drag here on one of the lap cars. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be touch and go with 23 to go. As you just saw, Reese May said he had 24 laps to go, and now we go to 22. So, yeah, it's if it goes
a
green
little
to
bit
the
more
end.
in the lead of that queue, as you say.
Yeah, and if it goes green to the end, these guys are going to fuel safe. So they're not going to want to pit again. It's going to be fuel safe, 100% fuel safe.
So we're on board with Carol Warden now. Have a look at this down the inside. Let's see what they decide to do here.
See how much he's backed off there?
Yeah. Reese May in trouble. Oh no!
That's brought out a caution, so that's gonna.
That's your caution. That's the life preserver.
Oh,
Everyone
there
needed.
we go. He's on his head. Oh no!
Well,
he's gonna have a headache. That was a big dump.
That would hurt.
Unbelievable. 93. Eli Donaldson. 69. The May entry that we've been watching all night long.
And we're just talking to him, and he's just had an absolutely big dump, which is really unfortunate for him because he's driven an amazing race all night.
Now, have we been given a caution, or are we still? No, yeah, we've got a caution. That's fine.
Yeah, we're under caution.
It was a bit hard to tell there at first because we don't have a yellow flag on our screen, obviously. But yes, and we are under caution. The safety car has the field. Mark Smith, the leader. Josh Carroll Walton, second. Hayden Millington, third. Then Josh Micklemore, Hamish Gallagher. They're the top 5. Dave Douglas. And now, this means one of two things, gentlemen. 21 laps to go.
Ooh.
Oh, jeez. Over track cam there, if you don't mind. This means one of two things. One, everyone comes in now.
They're all going to pit.
They're all going to pit. They're all going to top up. They're all going to be able to run to the checkered flag. They're not going to have a problem with that. They're going to be fine. You take on an extra couple of laps.
Oh, they're staying out.
No, they're staying out.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say that if you weren't sure of it, maybe they're thinking they can save enough under the caution to get to the checkered flag now. But I was going to say, for those that donate and they come in, they top up, they get that assurance that they'll be okay, even if we go green, white, checker. There's another circumstance that they've got to be considering.
Well, let's actually get an input from one of the drivers at the front and see how they're going fuel-wise. Let's go on board with JCW and actually see how they're going, because I thought they would have topped up there. So we'll bring JCW up and see what he's thinking. JCW, Aiden and Zach from the broadcast room, mates. How are you going?
Yeah, good. How are you guys going?
Yeah, going good, mate. I thought I didn't know how you guys were going for fuel there. I thought you might have topped up to get to the end. How are you thinking your car's going getting to the end? We did speak to Reese May before he got involved in that unfortunate incident just then to bring out the yellow, and he had 24 laps left. How are you going fuel-wise?
Yeah, I think I'm in a good enough position for the rest of the race. Like, no question it's tight, but we're going to gain quite a bit under this caution period, and there might be a few more to go yet. So, I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to make it to the end.
Well, this is the other thing as well, Josh, that we were just talking about, Aiden and I, before we brought you in, mate. And that is, what if we go green, white, checker? Have you guys calculated that as well? The potential for an extra couple, the need to have an extra couple of laps in the tank?
Yeah, that's a very real possibility. I guess what it comes down to is what is everyone actually chasing from tonight's race? Some guys are in the championship hunt. Some guys really want to win. So I'm not in a hunt for a championship because I'm doing a partial schedule this season. So, yeah, I'm going to risk a few things later on in these last 20 laps. So, yeah, it might work, it might not, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, well, you've driven a really solid race tonight, JCW, and kept yourself out of trouble. Didn't qualify the best, but, you didn't qualify bad either, but you've just driven a nice, clean race tonight to put you in a position to where you are now. So, what do you think? What's your thoughts? What are you going to do moving forward? You do have the Mitch Motorsport cars there, Hamish and Josh working really hard together. How are you going to be able to stop that? Because when they get a run, are they going to work with you, do you think, or are you just going to do your own thing?
I guess that is remain to be seen, but I think the important thing for everyone at home is to remember is they actually pitted one lap before me and Mark Smith up the front here, so yeah, that they might still be tight on fuel. So I guess all I can do, man, you know this full well, is just keep an eye on what's happening around me, and just jump on the trains when I can, and hopefully I can cross the finish line first.
No worries, mate. Well, from the broadcast booth, we wish you all the best, and we hope you go really well, and thank you for allowing us to jump in your car and making yourself available for all the viewers to be able to see what it's like from your point of view. So we'll let you go and concentrate. You're just about to go green, but thank you again, mate.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Everyone at home, buckle in. This is going to be a wild finish.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Nicely said. Well done to Josh Carroll-Walden. Thanks to him for coming in to have a chat with us here. Aiden Schultz, Andrew Collins and myself to take you through to the checkered flag here. We are getting ready for what will not be our final restart tonight. I have a nasty feeling.
I have a massive feeling that it won't be, Zach. I reckon we're going to see it a little bit.
Where they go elbows out, yeah?
I did say that earlier. I said the last 20 laps, it's going to be these. So everyone within my household now, please put your earplugs in because it's about to get noisy.
Oh, yeah. This is the part of the night where you just turn the volume down maybe 10% from where you've had it all throughout the night, folks, because it's about to get really loud. Mark Smith, Josh Carroll, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see how quickly they go 3 wide. I'm not worried about 2 wide. How quickly they want to go 3 wide and have a real race of it, because 2 wide's been a pattern that we've seen at times on the restarts here, but we've not seen too much 3 wide running. How long will it be before these guys start, applying the blowtorch here? We're about to find out. Mark Smith will bring us to the green flag. Josh Carroll-Walden's there with him. Hayden Millington and Josh Micklemore in behind, and Hamish Gallagher's there as well. They're off the racing. Restart underway. So Carroll-Walden missed the jump there. Smith bolted. And now Carol Walden is the sitting duck because everyone tucks in behind the lead pack on the inside line. So Walden, the sitting duck, has already dropped 2 positions. The man that we were just talking to in the booth, make it 3 as Gallagher goes by on the inside, and he'll take Dave Douglas with him as well. And unfortunately for Josh Carol Walden, he's just got no way of getting into that that toe, that slipstream at the moment, and the side draft's not even helping him either.
He is definitely moving back at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and that's really unfortunate for Josh. Here's his chance to drop down right now. Drop down. There he goes. But he's lost a mile of spots
It
through
cost
that.
him 7 positions, Aiden. 7 positions. That's hard to make back in only 17 laps, and that's all we've got left. Lap 100 in the books, ladies and gentlemen. On to 101 we go.
And we got Paul Jackson in behind JCW, Josh Carroll Walden at the moment too, that we've spoken to earlier, which has had a really clean race and is inside the top 10 or just outside it. So things are about to heat up, ladies and gentlemen. Do not get off your sofa. Do not stop looking because this is about to go nuts.
Indeed it is. Lap 101 of 117. The number 7. Sitting there as the race leader, Mark Smith. He hasn't spent too much time at the front tonight, but he's very content to be there right now. We've had a few different leaders along the way. Unfortunately, a couple of contenders out of the race. Not least May, of course, a few moments ago. Around onto the main straight. Across the start-finish line. Remember, it's past the tri-oval point of the circuit. It's closer to turn 1. That's why we love Talladega, because it's not decided at the tri-oval. You got a little bit more of an opportunity to get the job done on the main straight. That keeps everyone on their toes, on the edge of their seat, just as we are at the moment. Onto the back straight. Top dozen or so have broken clear. They've broken that toe. Top 14, in fact. So 15th is where that next gaggle of cars starts. That's Tristan Koch. Now, the question is, who's your dance partner? Who's your ally? Who's your enemy here? Because at some point or another, these guys sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, they're not going to want Mark Smith to lead this all the way home. They want their own piece of the cake as well. It's just a matter of when they apply the blowtorch or apply the foot to the floor here and say, look, now's the time to go for it.
Yeah, Zach, it's going to be against about this front pack at the moment. With 15 to go, they've definitely got the gap. They're going to sit in line. If you want to watch and see who's going to try and win this, watch the Mitch Motorsport guys in 3rd and 4th, right? Yeah, so they're going to sit there, and Dave Douglas as well. We're going to be screaming our heads off with a lap to go because that's when they're going to make their move. They're not going to make their move now.
What you saw earlier there, Aiden, of course, was Mickelmore and also Gallagher moved to the outside, and that was the first time tonight we'd seen the outside work for them. As soon as they had managed to overlap the competition and get some... Oh, caution! We've got a caution! Oh. We've got a caution on lap 104. I'm not sure why, but we have got a caution. Now, I was just about to say, as soon as those guys were able to overlap themselves and get clear of the cars on the inside, they jumped straight back down to the inside line. I don't know. Oh, massive shot.
Dylan Davies.
Yeah.
He's got no front end of his car left.
We missed the start of that on the Sim Snap Sim Play record there. Let's see if we can get a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed. Is there a second angle of that we might be able to have a look at for you in just a moment here? Simsnap.com, iRacing Photography replay here, folks. No, there's not.
We've just
we have no way of telling you exactly how that started. And here we go. Oh, that started a long way back.
God.
This is a massive shunt, monster shunt.
He's done that all on his own, I think.
He's come to move up, or he's had someone move down on him. No, he's got turned. He's been absolutely poleaxed by the number 6, is it? Is that 6?
16, I think it was.
16, yeah. Correct. Yeah, just struggled to see the one next to the 6 there. So, yeah.
It's all right, mate. It's been a big day.
Hasn't it? Hasn't it? And it's not over yet. We could do overtime yet.
Lucky to end up.
Oh, look, he's looking at the. Oh, at least. Yeah. Oh, looking at the.
Up comes the old brekkie. Oh.
Awesome stuff by JT.
I think he's going to need some Nurofen Savants after that one.
Yeah. Yep.
And maybe a new pair of Reg Grundys too.
Yeah, maybe.
oh,
But anyway,
gee.
we go under yellow now, and we're lap 104 or 117. So this is literally going to be a sprint race to the end. And
Yep.
I did come into this and said I thought it would go green a lot of the way, but whatever setup they've put into this truck has created some amazing racing and absolutely amazing to be able to commentate on it. It's been sensational, and I can't wait for the next 13 laps because, I'm so excited. I'm jumping around in my seat now, just getting excited to see who's going to win this.
I'm just trying to keep up. Is this the 4th or 5th caution? I've lost track.
I don't know. I think it's 4th or 5th.
Gallagher, Douglas. I know we've had at least 3, and this is now 4. I'm just not sure if it's 4 or 5. I've just lost track there in amongst everything else that's been going on tonight. As Aidan said, it's been a massive day. But it is not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. 105 of 117. We have got the course car on the track. Maybe not the last time tonight.
All right, boys. We're commentators here. Place your bets. Who's going to win it?
Oh, jeez. You know what?
Oh.
I just have that feeling that I'm looking at the middle of the top 10 here. I'm looking at Dave Douglas. I just have a feeling that he's well placed because if the top end of town come together, he's going to be well positioned to just come through and clean up the Vicky's Stephen Bradbury style. So if I was to hedge an each way bet $2 at the moment, I'd say David Douglas. Take nothing away from Mickelmore, Gallagher, etc. But I just got a feeling that there's going to be a sting in the tail.
Okay, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got
There's the commentator's curse. There's the commentator's curse on David Douglas.
I will put mine in as Josh Mickelmore.
Right. I'd like to see Douglas win. He was a member, and Riley Curtis, who used to run his own Riley Curtis design team, was the guy that actually got me into iRacing through a Facebook page we were running together, and Douglas was part of his team then, so I'd really like to see Douglas win. That'd be great.
Extraordinary scenes here at the Super Speedway in Talladega. This is going to be off the scale racing for the next, the lights are great on the course car this time by the line, so we are going to have 11 laps to decide this race. The restart will come on 107, ladies and gentlemen. We just start 106 now. Oh, take a breath and hold on. This is going to be fun. Mark Smith, Hayden Millington, Hamish Gallagher, Josh Mickelmore, Dave Douglas, the top 5 at the moment. Andrew.
Zach, I reckon you can take a break because Aidan gets pretty excited in these last few laps. So.
Don't worry. I'm going to be right there with him, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be 2 of us going for it.
Yeah, we get excited. And sorry about last night too, Andrew, but
not
I
at all,
get
mate.
excited and it creates
I enjoyed
content.
it. Yeah, it does. I enjoyed it.
It reminds me a little bit of the of the 12th man, and Darrell East like, let's get the old ears bleeding. No, let's not. 106 of 117, and apologies in advance if the ears are bleeding after the next 12 laps, ladies and gentlemen, but we are hugely excited. This is the point of the night in the Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup that we've all been waiting for. The run to the checkered flag. As one supercars expert would say, you have to buy your ticket to the last 20 laps. Well, in this particular case, you have to buy it to the last 5. We're not there yet. There are still a couple of verses and chapters to be written out here and played out before you. Right, 117, Aidan, and I tell you what, I was talking earlier about how the boys, the Mickelmore and Gallagher, were happy to jump up on the high line to get the overtake done, then jump down on the low line. I don't think they're going to have that option. I think you're going to have to run 2x2 here at some point in this last 12 laps.
Yeah, the problem we've got here with the Mitch boys is they're on separate lanes, so I don't know how they're going to manage this, whether they're going to back up the field and drop down.
Yeah, you're right.
So we don't know how they're going to manage this, but I'm about to lose my dumpties. This is going to be the most intense 10 laps that I've commentated ever. These guys are not going to hold back. Just like last night, they're not going to hold back. This is going to be decided by 0.001. So, ladies and gentlemen, strap in, get ready for the best 10 laps of your life. Zach Caban, take them to the flag, mate.
I don't want to know what dumpties are, by the way. I think it's too early in the night for
I just
that.
made it up.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Is this the last green flag restart of the ANZAC Cup? Let's find out. 11 to go at the Talladega Speedway. Off the line nicely. Smith and Millington jump well. Mickelmore and Gallagher side by side there, and already Gallagher's being leapfrogged by Douglas. Douglas gets his nose in front of Gallagher, and that's critical because now, as Aidan Schultz was talking about, the two teammates, they don't have the chance to work together. So now they've got to find a new dance partner, a new trust buddy, a new companion for this next short little period. Down the back straight. How long do they stay 2 by 2? Does the front line on the inside have the momentum here to continue to lead the way as they've done all night, or will the outside provide to be the sting, or prove to be rather the sting in the tail? Round they go. Off turn 4. This is 10 laps to go, and they get back to the line this time by Smith and Mickelmore have gapped the pack. Douglas is right there, up 2 spots already. If you're on the outside, you're history at the moment. And already, actually, did you just notice that? Car about 6 deep, moved up to the outside.
Yeah, and the outside line's definitely not working at the moment. And like I've said earlier in the broadcast, that inside line is going to help. We've got JCW there up on the outside, trying to create the run on the outside. He's got guys in behind him. He's dropping down to try and get that side draft, to try and get that outside to work. He's going to have to get that outside to work.
3 wide, about 10 deep in the pack at the moment. 3 wide for the first time tonight on a regular basis. We've seen a couple of guys go up there solo. Now there's 2 or 3 fancying their chances to go 3 wide. Off turn 4 again. 9 laps to go.
That outside is done. That outside is done. They're going to have to go line astern and have another crack later in the race. So we've got Mark Smith and Josh Mickelmore in first and second. Dave Douglas is there as well. It's definitely an inside line. Who's that's gone up high and left himself high and dry? He's going to go back at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I think that this race is going to be...
Oh,
there we go!
Coming,
There's
your big one. There's your big one at the Talladega.
That's going to cause a yellow for
sure,
boys.
No! Mark Smith, Mickelmore, Douglas Williams, escape unscathed. Campbell, Jackson, Trevor Than as well. Someone that was caught in that, Hamish Gallagher. Big moment there for Gallagher. Look at this on the replay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 involved at least.
Oh, my God.
Massive moment. Because now the tension builds again. Because 10 laps become 6. And then all of a sudden there's less time to get the job done.
Big thanks to Sim Snap for sharing the for supporting the replays there. But that was horrid. Yeah, it was out of control.
How are the nerves? How's the heart rate? How's the heart? Mate.
I'm literally nearly peeing myself at the moment. I'm that excited.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting here watching it on a 24 monitor screen with my keyboard on a box, and I'm still pretty excited. So. It's,
we hope you're enjoying it at home. I mean, wherever you're tuning in around Australia, this is edge of your seat stuff. Don't touch the dial. Do not switch off. You want to be here right to the very end. And now that we're at 11 past 10, I'll go about giving you a quick update from around the grounds for the first time tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't had a chance to do this as yet. But we can tell you that the Bulldogs got their first win of the season today in the NRL 18-12 over the Sharks. The Cowboys rated 26-24, if you don't mind. So there's 2 upsets in the day in the NRL. Tomorrow, of course, ANZAC Day. The Tigers against the Seagulls, the Roosters against the Dragons, and the Storm against the Warriors. In the AFL, the traditional ANZAC match.
The Bombers versus Collingwood,
that's
mate.
Tomorrow. That's going to be huge. I'll get to that in a moment. But already today, Andrew, I'll come back to you in a moment, mate. Already today, the Gold Coast Suns smashing the Swans by 40 points. There's an upset for you, 100-60. The Geelong Cats over West Coast, disgraceful performance from West Coast, 97 points the margin, 136-39.
Wow.
Yeah.
They made a meal of the Lions the other week. So, and Lions have been in the top 4 for the last 2 years. So for them to be beaten by 90-odd points, that's really surprising.
Yeah,
Where was that played?
That was in Geelong, but the Eagles got done by 97 points, unbelievably so. And of course, considering they were premiers in 2018, considering also That only last week they beat Collingwood, or a couple of weeks ago they beat Collingwood. That's a big upset. Brisbane, 103 defeated Carlton 85 to restore some sanity to proceedings. Melbourne are 6 from 6. Can you believe that? After beating Whitby 82 to 48, and currently Fremantle leading North Melbourne by 40 points, 79 to 39. That's at 3/4 time tomorrow. Hawthorn and Adelaide at 12:30. Collingwood and Essendon at 3:20. And of course, that's the big one. 16th against 15th, but 85,000 will pack into the G. And Port Adelaide third, playing St Kilda 14th at 6:40. Now, turn our attention back to this. Right to play still on the safety car. So does that mean we're going to get another lap here and we'll go green with 5 to go?
Yeah, we're definitely going to go green to the end here. They're not going to come in and pit. They would have done it already. They've got enough fuel. They've had enough safety car laps. We've got Mark Smith in first, Josh Mickelmore in second, and Dave Douglas, the Super Speedway king, in third. Hamish Gallagher is being caught up in that incident, so now Josh has got no one to help him. So I strongly believe you're going to see Dave Douglas here help Mark Smith, and this is going to be the closest finish we have seen. This is going to be amazing.
So already a couple of contenders drop out. And as we said, I said Dave Douglas, didn't I? He's moved to third. He's only got 2 positions to go. I have a nasty feeling that I put the mocker on him because I think there's a sting in the tail here, but already he's sitting pretty. We're going to go around behind the safety car one more time, ladies and gentlemen, and that will give us 5 laps, a little over 21 kilometres of racing to go here at the Talladega Superspeedway. I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, no, hang on. Blown engine in the background, was that?
Yep, definitely a blown engine there. So that's the end of the race for whoever that is. That's done. That's park it in the shed.
Unbelievable. Barney's got the flag up, so it's definitely green flag next time by, irrespective of that.
At least Barney's putting his flag up because he's been a little bit lackadaisy lately. So I'm glad Barney's joined.
Lights are out. We are going to have 5 laps to go. Does anyone want to change their bet at this particular point in time, please?
No, I'm still on Josh Mickelmore. He's going to win this. I've got Josh Mickelmore. I'm backing him. I know you've got Dave Douglas. Who are you on, Andrew?
I'd like to see Dave Douglas win.
I would too, because I'm his ex-teammate, so I'd love to see him win. But I'm going to back Josh Mickelmore. I reckon he's going to be the wily old fox here, and to be honest, we're going to be screaming our heads out. It's going to be not even half a car length.
Mark Smith is going to lead this back to green. I don't know if he's going to lead it to the checkered flag. Micklemore's going to have to make the outside work for him. Brad Allison, let's get a quick comment from you. Hedge your bets, mate. Who have you got your money on as we land into this last 5 laps, please?
Oh, I like Dave. I think Dave would probably be a favourite. I've pushed Dave to win before. I reckon he knows his way around that one.
What happened to you tonight, Brad? A little bit of incidents or whatever, but it's been an absolutely amazing call to be up here in the broadcast booth, and we're coming down now with 6 laps to go. I've got my money on Josh Mickelmore, but what happened to your race tonight, mate? But just really quickly before we go green.
A couple of cars got together in front of me, bounced off the wall, took bad. It happens. So, yeah, all good.
No worries, mate. Well, thank you for making yourself available, and Zach, take us to the green flag as we're about to go green.
Oh, talk about pressure. The heart rate, the nerves, the tension, the energy, the excitement, the buzz, the crowd, the atmosphere. It's all happening, as Bill Laurie would say, but it's motor racing, not cricket. 5 laps to go. The Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup comes down to the final 5 laps as we suspected it would. Smith and Mickelmore bring us back to green. Watch Dave Douglas there in third. Can anyone from further back spring a surprise? The start is on the throttle of Smith. He's holding the pack up. He's backing everybody up nicely. So this is nice and well contended. Green and away.
Mark Smith has got an amazing jump. Amazing jump from Mark Smith.
Really?
Josh Mickelmore sitting there on the outside. He's going to want to drop down as soon as he can because he's not going to get any help from above.
Douglas went with him. Douglas went with Smith, so he's pushed Mickelmore up to the high line. He's going to have to sit there for the moment. Will he have anyone to work with? Let's wait and see. Down the back straight.
We've got to come to the inside. That's all right. He's kept it clean.
Jeez. 2 wide.
Here's your bet, Zach, on Dave Douglas. You watch. Mark Smith is going to be drawn right back to the pack. The outside, unless the DPR car on the outside is going to work with Josh Mickelmore, I think that Dave Douglas is... Oh, here we go. No, the outside is working. Mark Smith is trying to block
exactly.
both lines.
That's right. I was going to say 2x2. That hasn't worked all night, but it's going to be the order of the day for the last 5 laps here because everyone's got their elbows out. Everyone's arced up. They're excited. They're pumped. 4 laps to go at Talladega. Now remember, if we get a safety car in the next 2 laps, green, white checker. If we get to the last lap board before a safety car, next flag ends the race. So if we're going to get a late race safety car in overtime, it needs to be now or the next 2 laps because once we get to that last lap, next flag ends the race. Here we go for the first time.
And Josh Mickelmore's really trying to make that outside work, and we're going 3 right now. Here we go. Here we go. Josh Mickelmore, the third line has definitely got nothing at the moment. Here's Josh trying to get the side draft. Dave Douglas trying to stop him. Oh, here we go. It's going to be a green white checker.
Now we're going to get green white checker. We're going to overtime, ladies and gentlemen. And as if I hadn't already worked enough today.
I told you I was going to pee myself.
Oh, wow. And look who's in front. Look who's in front. Dave Douglas leads us to the caution.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, Tristan Kosh gone. Out of business.
Sim Snaps replay shows there. Yeah.
And he got cleaned up afterwards.
Yeah, well. Just to add insult to injury, but there were 3 in front of him that got caught up in all of that.
Here we
go.
Guys,
For all the viewers at home, seriously, that are watching, strap yourself in. If you don't have belts in your lounge chair, go and install them right now and tighten them up. Oh, no!
What's going on here?
What happened there?
Oh, jeez. There's a couple of X.
I think we need to get a sponsorship from Tab Bet or something.
Better.
You and I have called Dave Douglas, and I reckon he's going to pull it off. But
for everyone at home that's in their lounge chair watching here from Australia, New Zealand, around the world, if you don't have race belts in your lounge chair, quickly go and just get some rope or something and just tighten them down. This is about to get loose. This is about to get loose.
Now, David Douglas, I said he was leading, but obviously at the caution, Smith was leading. So that's been corrected. So Smith will be on the inside, Douglas on the outside. So he's now the sitting duck, and that won't suit our tip well at all, Andrew, unfortunately.
It suits my tip very well.
It suits your tip very well because Mickelmore's there in third at the moment. And
Mickelmore has no one to help him. So, this is amazing. I am so excited for the end of this race. This is just going to be off tap.
We've got to take this on board because Randy's the expert at this sort of stuff, so... His call is probably better than our two.
I knew we'd put the mocker on Douglas at some point, but here's the other thing too. 31 positions gained, biggest mover of the night now. Mark Rooney sitting there in 6th position, having gained 31 positions, started 37th. Now the pole sitter's done. The pole sitter's out of contention here. 7th, car 7. Mark Smith has gained 6 positions. Douglas has gained 14. Mickelmore's gained 24. Any one of them a deserving winner, having fought their way through that logjam for the last 115 laps. We are on lap 116. The lights are still on the safety car there?
No, they're off by the looks of
things. Lights are off. So they're on. So lights are on.
We've got another lap under yellow.
Which means we'll have another lap under yellow, which means that'll take us to 117, which means we'll go to 119.
All right, so...
Next flag, so obviously if there's only one attempt at green-white checker, next flag ends the race. That's the big thing that we've got to bear in mind here, because whilst there will be all the hope and intention in the world to get those 2 laps in green, we know that they'll have other ideas as well, and we know that it doesn't always go to script, and we'll know to expect the unexpected. So, and then obviously iRacing will have the issue of trying to work out who was leading when the caution was called, at which point we will have to work out who wins this Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup for 2021. The inaugural incarnation, the inaugural edition of this symbolic special occasion on the eve of Anzac Day's 106th anniversary, of course.
Big
Well,
call
Zach,
to see
sorry to cut you off there, Andrew. Zach, because we've got a lap to go before we go green, let's pull Dave Douglas up into the booth
Do it.
and see what he's thinking just before we go to the green-white checker, hey?
Go for it, mate. All yours.
Dave Douglas, we're up here in the booth, mate. Have you got a copy?
Yeah, gotcha, boys.
Mate, this is on the edge of your seat stuff. How are you feeling coming into a green-white checker here, mate?
Yeah, look, I was in a better position just a minute ago. Me and Josh were having a big ding-dong battle with the side draft there. And I finally got it to break it. And then, it's in a good position and the yellow come out. So now it's my turn to be on the outside. So I'm just going to run these boys hard down on the inside and see if I can't make something happen here.
So you're going to run them really hard low and try and get that side draft and really push, or are you going to try and drop in early in that first lap and then try and get the run late? What's your plan?
Yeah, it depends on what Mark does. So if Mark waits for a late start on the green, I'll just hang on the outside. And then basically with the side draft, what you need to do is get that run and then break it and go up to the top so the car on the inside doesn't get that run back. So hopefully I can do that. We'll see how we go.
Hey, Dave, very quickly, have you got a good relationship with Reen Campbell there in fourth? Can you rely on him to push you to the checkered flag if needs be?
Oh, look, mate, me and him had a little joke back and forth tonight, so he's been good. He said he'd go with me earlier tonight, so hopefully he sticks with that tonight, and we'll go make something of it, I guess.
All right, well, very best of luck from us. Andrew Collins and I will feel very bad if you don't get the win, because about 10 laps ago when you were sitting fifth, we put our money on you. So
I'll just jump in there, Zach, before we finish.
Go, Andrew.
Back from the old BA Racing, Riley Curtis Designs racing team. I hope you win, mate. Best of luck.
We'll let you go. Concentrate. You're about to go green, Dave. So best of luck, mate. Go and concentrate, and I'll move you back down into your team.
All right.
Cheers,
Go well,
boys.
Dave Douglas.
Cheers,
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Brad Allison's still sitting in the booth as well. We'll get some comments from him post-race. Safety car's about to peel off here, ladies and gentlemen. Green, white, checker. Next flag ends it. For the ANZAC Cup of 2021.
Let's go! Boogie!
Will it be anticlimactic, or will we see a checkered flag fly? Smith and Douglas bring us to green. Watch from Mickelmore and Campbell. Can anyone further back spring a surprise, or is it too late to make you run now?
This is going to be really interesting. Dave's trying to get the run, but he doesn't want to get the black flag. There we go. He's got the run.
Beautiful race
behind him. This lap is going to. There you go. He's dropped. Left Dave out to dry.
Campbell's deserted him. He's just said, "Here you, mate." Douglas come together halfway through turn one, and now Campbell's pushing him.
The 7 car's got this. He's done. If he can make his car as wide as he can, he's got this.
He's got it.
We go. The 7 cars.
Douglas is gone. Can you believe that? Mickelmore's all over the back of Smith as they come round. We're still green. The green lights are still on there. Mickelmore to the outside. Green
2 laps to go. 1 lap to go after this.
White flag in the air. Mickelmore makes his run off the outside now. And he goes to the front by a nose. Smith gets him back on the inside. He leads at the strike. There was
Watch out for the
nothing in
06 car. Watch out for the 06 car on the outside.
Watch, absolutely. Watch the 92 of Campbell there as well. Between Smith and Mickelmore. Can Campbell?
There we go.
Campbell is the leader as it goes yellow.
Campbell's got it. Campbell's got it.
Run, Campbell has got to win this unless
Here we go though. On the outside, we've got damage.
Mark Hansen, can the boys
He's going to win it. He's going to win it. He's going to win it.
Zero gets the job done in the ANZAC Cup. You wouldn't believe it. 39 positions gained. He started 40th on the grid, and he wins the ANZAC Cup. What about that?
Who would have seen that coming? He's got to send his own trophy to himself.
Wow.
Who would
What
have
a-
seen that coming?
Oh, wow. I've never enjoyed the final lap more. There was more carnage than the Bruce Highway on Good Friday there. Have a look at that. Mickelmore was the first one to bite the dust. Smith went in as well. And then Campbell was in all of that as well, but he managed to stumble to the line in fifth. He was the one that got through there. He was leading there for a while, but he picked up some damage, and that was what allowed Johansson and Finlay and Gallagher to come through. Hamish Gallagher got back to third and all of that. You got to be kidding me. He was out 5 minutes ago.
I think it started a bit earlier than that.
Seriously,
It delivers.
we need to get a pacemaker into the broadcast booth because, oh my God.
Oh, wow. That was a lot of fun. Hey, don't worry, folks. There's plenty more where that came from because SimShed Broadcasting is your new home of the Australian Stock Car Championship, the Weekend Warriors. And after tonight, that's a bloody good acquisition by this broadcasting organisation. Don't worry about that. Lap 120, Mark Johansson gets the job done from Chris Finlay and Hamish Gallagher. 39 positions gained by Johansson, 10 from Finlay, and 28 from Gallagher. We're going to have the top three park on the main straight. We're going to have the top 5 come into the booth. But I tell you what, the story stretches well beyond that because when you look down the order, Mark Smith didn't even get to the line. He's 22nd on our sheet there at the moment. There's the results.
I'll quickly run through the results there, Zach, just because I'm just that excited. So Mark Johansson with a sensational win. P1 coming from the back. Christopher Finlay in second. Hamish Gallagher in third. We don't know how he got there after that incident. JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walden into fourth. Stephen Williams into 5 with a solid drive. Raymond Yeager into 6, which we didn't really speak about all night. So he was a silent assassin, bringing himself up into 6. 7th was Adam Ariel. Ruben Phelps into 8th. Josh Mickelmore in that unfortunate incident at the end in 9th. Paul Jackson into 10.
Wow. Over the page, I'll do the next 10. Greg Spencer, Reen Campbell. So Campbell in the end got pushed all the way back to 12th. Can you believe that? So obviously, it was showing as 5th on our order here. So obviously there's been some iRacing penalties applied post-race here. And Campbell's showing down in 12th. Darren McKenzie, Troy Davidson, Hayden Millington, Daniel Aguilera Bates, Gary Wellman, Mark Rooney. So Rooney was up there in the top 10 going into that final restart. Dave Trevathan running the top 10 all night, ended up 19th. And Jason Nicholas rounded out the top 20. Aiden, 21 to 30.
21 is Nigel Payton for Activity Hub Bali. 22, Peter Gretton. 23, Scott McClintock. 24, Aaron Dillon for Sim Boys Racing. 25 is Nathan Legg. Finishing in P26 is Tristan Koch. 27th, David Durand, who was running really well early in the race, so very unfortunate for him. 28, Brad Allison, who we've spoken to through the broadcast tonight. 8 laps down, very unfortunate for him. 29, Kobe Jordan, and 30th was Matt Payton for Activity Hub Bali Racing.
Long list of retirements, depressingly so for these guys. Dylan Davies, Eli Donaldson, Reese May, Jaden Draper, then, of course, Tony Gagliardi, and then, of course, you go back to Reese Bolitho, Billy Hickey, Nicholas Marriott, who were with us earlier in the race, Jamie Nankervis, Cade Donnelly was 40th. He was 99 laps down, and there's still retirements below him.
Yeah, it was a crazy race, Zach. It was crazy. It was very clean early, and there were a couple of cautions, and guys played the long game. Like I said, coming into this, they're going to need to play the long game, and the race doesn't start till the last 10 laps, and that definitely showed that tonight. So
wow,
we had a good broadcast for the first 100 laps, but I tell you what, the last 14 were the best.
We were scheduled to be. We were told that this would be a 7:30 to 10 broadcast. We're half an hour overtime. Bear with us for another half hour if you can, folks, because there's a lot to try and dissect here as we bring the top 3 into the booth. Mark Johansson, what an extraordinary piece of brilliance from you to be essentially the last man standing. You started 40th, my friend, and you've walked away with the silverware. The inaugural Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine ANZAC Cup is yours. What's going through your mind right now, please?
Man, I cannot believe that. I am absolutely stoked. I'm shaking like a leaf. There's just no words, mate. There is absolutely no words. To the rest of the drivers, well done, top race, and thanks for turning out.
Yeah, well, Mark Aiden here, mate, and from the broadcast, it was absolutely sensational to call. Great driving all night. We did not see that coming, actually, at the end, and we were just going off like frogs in a sock.
Well, yeah.
You put up the trophies and stuff tonight for people winning, and guess what? That trophy that you put up to win stays in your household.
Oh, mate, I am just absolutely stoked. I don't know if you know, I'm a return vet. I had some bad news last weekend. So this race, I'm going to dedicate the traps. One of my diggers, absolutely brilliant guy, and just sorry he couldn't be here to watch it tonight.
So it just goes to show, doesn't it, Aidan, that, I mean, we talk about how ANZAC Day has such significance to Australian history and culture, and obviously it's a huge day that's embraced by all of us, from the dawn service right through to all the different sporting events that are unfolding tomorrow. We've mentioned Essendon and Collingwood already, the Roosters and the Dragons, etc., and so forth. The NBL, the A-League, everyone's getting in on it. But then to have a personal element to put to our broadcast tonight just goes to show that this was revered right from the outset. As soon as it was announced that there was going to be an ANZAC Cup, it became very quickly the race that everybody wanted to win. And for Mark, for there to be such a personal element to it, it makes it even more special, doesn't it, Aidan?
Yeah, definitely, Zach. And Mark, to be able to put on Weekend Warriors, and especially to be able to create this ANZAC race or Weekend Warriors in general, and for him as such a gentleman to be able to win this race, I'm sure he's sitting there, probably got a couple of tears, and really excited because I know how much this means to him as a league. He didn't come into this probably wanting to win it. Well, everyone wants to win it, but expecting to win it. I'm sure he's really proud of that. And for me as a commentator, and for me that someone that is allowed into the league and to be able to commentate on it, I'm really happy for him. And Mark, I know what you feel shaking and stuff, mate. You should be really proud, because I'm really proud of you for being able to do that, mate. It's sensational, and you should keep your head up high in what you've done to be able to create this weekend, and for you to come out on top, mate. Yeah, absolutely proud, mate. Thank you for letting me be a part of it, and congratulations again on taking the top step.
Just before I let you talk to the other guys, mate, just a big thank you to Zach, Andrew, and you, Adrian, and JP from Jim. I've lost words.
We know what you mean, mate.
To Hamish and everyone else in the race, the other guys, well done. Hard luck. To my admin that put in X amount of time this week, thanks very much. And to all the other drivers, thanks very much for coming out. And more so to the people watching this, thanks very much, and thanks for tuning in to watch it.
Is that your first win of the season, Mark?
Yes, sir.
What a time to add to the winners list and to get your first win of the season. I mean, fair income. I mean, as we say, ANZAC Day means a lot to so many, but particularly to vets and our servicemen and women right around the country, mate. We know that tomorrow is a special day. You were tearing your hair out about 4 hours ago, just as we we're getting ready to go on air. I don't mind telling people this now. You were absolutely tearing your hair out. It all came together so beautifully. The pre-race ceremony, into the qualifying, the race, and then for you to walk away as the king of Talladega. I dare say, as Aidan said, there'll be a tear or two shed tonight. Hairs will be back on the back of the deck, standing up on the back of the deck tomorrow morning with the dawn service. But then, of course, I would dare say that the tears will be traded for beers as soon as we get off air here. Am I right?
I've got a bowl of wild turkey sitting right here.
Oh, you're a good man. Very good. Hey,
Mark, I'm almost tearing up for you, mate. I know how much effort you put in. I know you're a returned vet, and everything you put into everything iRacing, and I now run a league, and I know what it does and how hard it is. So, mate, I'm really proud of you. You did an amazing job, and yeah, I've got no words to say. I'm just really happy for you to take the win tonight, albeit maybe a little bit of luck, but you know what? That's super speedways, so. from everyone in the broadcast booth, everyone watching around Australia and the world, watching this stream. Thank you so much, mate, for bringing this to them and the hard work you put in. And we look forward to broadcasting your series moving forward, mate.
Oh, I'm already going through the diary, so trying to figure out what other Saturday nights I'm free, Aidan. There aren't too many on the schedule, but I'm coming back. Don't worry about that. That was great fun.
Yeah, thanks,
Jump
guys.
in there, boys.
Yeah, thanks,
Hey?
guys. You just let out a secret.
And
Well, I didn't
just-
really.
No, we've already mentioned that SimShed's broadcasting the rest of this series. Don't worry. Was that the secret that you were referring to, or was it something else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's your fault, Zach. That's your fault. That wasn't me. That's not me, Mark. We're blaming Zach.
That is my fault because I got
Blame
told in a
Zach.
memo this morning, and I wasn't told that it was off the record. So yeah, I'll pass that on to my EP anyway, and I'll deal with the consequences of that when we get off here. Mark, congratulations, mate. Stay there if you can because we'll continue with the post-race wrap here. Steve Williams is in here. Excuse me, Chris Finlay as well, and also Hamish Gallagher. Let's go to Chris Finlay. And your wildest dreams off that final restart, did you imagine coming home second here? The biggest thing that surprised me was the fact that once all the carnage ensued on that last lap, that they let you go green to the line, but that served you well.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely served me well. Congratulations to Mark. I was trying to keep a clean car for the whole race and hopefully survive the last minute wreck.
Yeah, Chris, we jumped on board with you early, and I was speaking to you. Well, you early where we were trying to get that high run where the 5 of your cars were working together, and unfortunately, there was a bit of a wreck there with one of your cars, and that didn't work well. But how'd the race pan out for you? Like early in the race, you were right up the front there with your guys, and then you sort of went to the back, and there was nothing really there. Were you just sort of waiting to the end, or what were you thinking from the driver's seat?
Wasn't really waiting to the end. I kind of had a bit of a miscue in the pit. I was too far to the left and kind of lost the draft. But the cautions just kept coming out at the right times. Like the fuel was getting down and then we were coming into the pit. So it was all working out quite well. And I was just trying to, as I said, keep a clean car.
Aidan, you keep going, mate. You keep asking the questions, mate, because I'm just trying to catch my breath at the moment.
No, you're right, mate. Yeah, and like I said in the broadcast, mate, is it was all about keeping a clean car to the end. We all race together week in, week out, and we know what it's like, and especially on a super speedway, you do need to keep a clean car. And to be honest, the winner, like you see tonight, Mark, he started out at P40 and he's got the W. So,
extraordinary.
Yeah, it was an amazing race. You literally need to watch this back and see me, Zach, and everyone jump off the end of our seats because we were literally going off like a frog in a sock. But yeah, mate, amazing drive. It was unfortunate for the guys in front of you, like Joshy Micklemore, Dave Douglas, those guys that were at the front there. But you know what? You put your car in the position to be able to get a P2. So. Mate, anyone you want to thank tonight or anyone you want to make a shout out to while we're live and say thank you for coming second and make a shout out.
Yeah, just want to thank Mark again for putting on the race. Also want to thank the boys at Sim Boys Racing. They're up in the shed every Friday night having beers and it's just a bit of fun for us. And yeah, also the broadcast. Obviously, I'm going to go back and watch it now. So thank you.
No worries, mate. Well, you guys did really well. I know we race together all the time in ANZAC and do all that type of stuff, but you and the Sim Boys guys went really well tonight. So good job by all of yous. I know that Aaron might have had a little bit of bad luck and everything, but you guys were definitely quick because all we saw in the first 40 laps were yellow cars. So great job, guys, and especially you, mate, on a second place. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's move to third. Stay with us, guys. We might get a chance to ask another question here towards the end. Let's go to third there. Hamish Gallagher's in here. In your wildest dreams, did you imagine you'd be third in all of that? Because your race effectively, as far as the chance at winning was concerned, ended in the previous caution period. Just talk us through that last 5 or 6 laps, mate, because that was insane.
Yeah, sure was. If I thought if any of the Mitch cars would get a top 3, it would be my teammate Josh, because he was really the one who was in the position. So I was just watching him, just hoping he could side draft there for the win. So I'm sure Al didn't expect to be up here. But I mean, firstly, I just need to say big congratulations to Mark. If anyone had to win this race, it's going to mean the most for him. So
Yeah.
I'm sure this will be a big month for him. So it's a big congratulations to Mark. But as far as my race went, she was a bit of a messy one. Like, me and Josh really wanted to stay together, and he got spun there before the green flag, so it kind of all wasn't a great start. So we just pitted that first caution there, and he got all his damage fixed, and then we just thought, well, let's see what we can do on the outside. We were able to drag that top line to the front there, which is good. And then after that was really a fuel run race. Like, we were probably a lap worse than anyone else, so we were saving hard. And unfortunately, we had to pit one lap early, which meant we're just by ourselves. We lost the lead there. We were third, fourth, or whatever. But yeah, and then that second to last caution, I got hung up to dry. And I thought my race was over. I had damage.
Yeah.
Got it fixed, but I still had RPMs are down. So I'm just going to post around here, finish P20, and here we are.
Aiden and Andrew both made the observation during the call that you guys worked together so beautifully throughout the course of the night. You got to the front, which is where you wanted to be. But as you said, as soon as you guys got separated on the double file restart and you were on opposite sides of one another instead of bumper to bumper, that's where this race took a cruel twist for you guys, didn't it?
Yeah, you really need to be able to work together and be able to communicate. And so once we were split up, we're done. Especially as once we're out the front there, all the other guys, they know how to drive, so they didn't want us to get back together, I'm sure, so they weren't going to help us. So unfortunately, that's how it was. But, we at least got one car up here in the top three, so we got something for our work.
Indeed. Aiden?
Yeah, Hamish, amazing drive, mate. Amazing drive. Being caught up in that caution earlier, amazing drive. Just absolutely amazing. Good to see you guys up there. I did have my monies put on Josh Mickelmore. You can see that in the broadcast when you watch it.
Don't worry, Aiden, mate. We had Josh had the broadcast on the background, so he was relaying it all to me. So.
Yeah. So I definitely had it on him. You definitely had it when you were running high there, and I knew you were going to drop down, and I thought that, okay, you guys have got it, but no one, it's Talladega, it's super speedway, just like Daytona. You can't predict what's going to happen at the end. So at the end of the day, you got to have your car in the right place to be able to get a position. So really good to see you on the podium again, mate. You're a really good contender in everything you run. And like I said, I run against you most weeks, and it's no surprise for me to see you jag a podium here. So really proud of you, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Aiden. It's been a bit of a tough year, results-wise for me, so to grab something here is a little bit of sugar.
Mate, tough. If a tough year for you is a terrible year for me, but well done, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Let me just jump in here. Hey, Mark, if I can bring you back in for a moment, where are we next week, please?
Next week we're Iowa. I'm pretty sure we are.
Okay, Iowa. So there's a question for everybody once we get through the rest of the top 5 interviews here. Let's bring in. I'm just having a look through my. I think I've only got 4 here, don't I? I was supposed to have Josh Carroll Walden in here, but I don't. So Steve Williams in 5th. In all of that, you get promoted because Regan Campbell got relegated. Steve. Not someone that we saw a hell of a lot of tonight, but you crept up into the top 5 when it mattered, mate. You must be happy with that.
Pretty happy with that. In the end, I've managed to stay out an extra lap there. I was the only one to be able to get a lap, so I thought this is in a good position if this goes green to the end, but in reality knew that was never going to happen. But yeah, pretty much lucky at the end there, just dodging all the cars and come through because I had pretty dead car after that last caution.
Aiden?
Yeah, Steve, you had a really amazing race tonight, mate. You're the silent assassin. You just sort of sat back there and did your thing. You're always going to be there. We know that, racing with you week in, week out, that you're always going to be there. But did you really think that you had something for the front at the end, or do you think you were just lucky with that accident at the end to be able to get up there?
Yeah, not really. You got to be pretty much that first 3 in the line to be able to do anything. Or not really, it's a roll of the dice and stay out of the wrecks.
Yeah, well, you did an amazing job, mate. We didn't really speak about you a lot tonight because you were sort of just sitting back there, and as some people do on super speedways, they sit back out of the wrecks and they wait for the race to the end. And obviously that proved a good point for you tonight to be able to do that, and you've come away with a P5. So great drive, mate. And as always, mate, you're always up there and a sensational driver, and it was great to call. So well done, mate.
Thanks for that. And yeah, congratulations to the podium, Mark, Christopher, and Hamish, especially Mark. It's awesome to come through like that. For the win after all the hard work.
Absolutely. Well done, Steve. Thank you for that. Hey, stay there for a moment for me, guys. We'll get to championship points very shortly. Not yet. We'll get to championship points in just a moment. But before that, obviously, are there any sponsors or any people that we'd like to thank, starting with you, Mark, and working our way around the top 5 here?
Yeah, mate, I'd just like to thank Opie's Carts and Parts. He helps me out with me go-kart racing. A big thank you to Scott McClintock. He's done a lot of work this week with paints for a lot of the boys, and he does our paints. And you boys in the broadcast, JP, thanks for an excellent stream. And as I said, just thank everyone that turns up to race week in, week out, and puts their whole effort into it.
Let's go to Chris now.
Yeah, just going to say thank you again to Mark, also the Weekend Warriors admin team, the broadcast, and just another shout out to the Sim boys again.
Indeed. All right, Hamish, it's yours.
Just thank my teammates, Josh, Jason, and Dan. Really enjoying running with them this year. And I guess just I said, same, we'll just thank Mark and the rest of the admin team. They've put a lot of time and money into running this league, and without them we wouldn't be here. So I've been running with it since they started it last year, and just to watch it grow, it's been really good to see.
All right, on the back end of all that, Steve, the floor is yours as the last one tonight.
Yeah, just like thanks SimShed Broadcasting and the broadcasters for putting on the show. The Weekend Warrior group, everyone in the background there to bring this to us. Shortshift magazine, and my sponsors, simrigs.com, BenMax Mechanical, BetSmart Race Solutions, and all the boys at DPR Racing.
Well done, boys. Fantastic. Stay with me. One or two more questions coming your way as soon as we're done here. Let's have a look at those championship points at the end of the ANZAC Cup in Talladega. Darren McKenzie. Hey, actually, he was the big mover for much of the night, and then dropped well down the order of 15th. 23 positions in the end he gained. He started just a row in front of Mark here, and he was up in the top 10 there for a long while. I thought he was going to be the rear to front performer. It ended up being Mark with the sting in the tail for so many. Josh Carroll Walden sits second there on points at the moment, 6 points the margin. Dave Duran further since 6 points back. Then Cade Donnelly, who didn't have the best run tonight. Then Paul Jackson. Stephen Williams is up there in 6th position. And then Mark with that win jumps up to 7th. Dylan Davies to 8th. And Greg Spencer to 9th. But look at that. I mean, 7 points separating 6th through 9th at the moment. And Raymond Jager sits 10th. We'll let the points keep scrolling here because we are a little bit short for time. We do need to let these guys get to sleep because it's a massive day tomorrow. Remember, however you're commemorating Anzac Day, whether it's going to a march or a morning service or an afternoon service, or the hardy souls that are getting up and braving the cold and going to the dawn service, it is such a special day. My alarm's getting set for... I was thinking about going into Brisbane for the dawn service this year, but if I was to do that now from Ipswich, I wouldn't sleep tonight. So I'm going to hop up and watch it on the telly instead. There's no doubt about that.
We'll just keep going on the results here. Zach, we're down to 31st now with Christopher Finlay, 92 points. 32nd is Hayden Millington, 88 points. 33rd, Jarek Jacobs, 78 points. Mark Rooney, 74. Kobe Jordan, 65. Eli Donaldson, 58, Jaden Draper, 54, Billy Hickey, 46, Josh Mickamore down there on 46 points in 39th, and Peter Gretton in 40th on 38 points.
Well pointed out. And there's the last two, Marriott and Nicholas as well. Now, can we just go through and get a comment from you guys with regards to next week? Andrew and Aidan, stand by because I'm coming to you for some final thoughts and some Driver of the Night nominations in just a moment. But firstly, looking ahead to next week, one of the interesting dynamics when you talk about stock car racing in any way, shape, or form is the vast variety of the different ovals we go racing on. We go from one of the fastest to one of the slowest next week. Mark, what's your plan of attack for Iowa? What are your thoughts going into that? Because it'll be such a different race. It'll be won in different ways to what Talladega was won tonight.
I'm not really sure. I'll get together with my teammate Scott through the week and we'll work out a strategy. But I don't think we're going to do much different as tonight and what we do every week. Just hang back and wait for the accidents to clear.
What about you, Hamish Gallagher? What are your thoughts going into Iowa, please? What's the plan of attack?
Oh, I'm a big fan of short tracks, so I'll definitely be there next week. Looking forward to it.
All right. At this point in time, we've got Scott McClintock in the room, so we'll get to him in just a moment as well. He's joined us late in the piece here. Chris Finlay, what are your thoughts going into Iowa? Because, again, it's a short track, so you can't rely on that drafting, that slipstreaming that you do in Talladega. It's going to be one on strategy and other factors. There's a different form of racecraft that you need for the short tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's still going to be trying to keep your car clean. If you can stay out of the incident and you can work your way forward, that's where it's going to be won, I guess.
And what about you, Steve Williams? What are you thinking going into Iowa?
Yeah, usual to stay out of trouble for that last run. Just got to have a car underneath you to be able to finish it in the end. So pretty much, yeah, like usual to stay out of trouble.
Indeed. Very well done to you all tonight. Aidan, anything you want to ask these guys? I mean, McClintock's just bolted out of the room. As soon as I said we were going to talk to him, he bolted. He couldn't get out of here fast enough. What are your final remarks to the drivers? Anything else I've missed or we've missed or anything else you want to cover off with them before we let them go?
No, nothing at all. We can let them go. I've spoken to them. They're all amazing drivers, and they're the usual people I'd expect to be at the front. But Super Speedway, you never know. So, yeah, I've got nothing really to add. To be honest, Zach, it's been amazing by all of them. I spoke to them there on the interview, and guys, you put on a good show. And seriously, if you watch this broadcast back, the show that you guys put on for everyone watching at home, pat yourself on the back, because from a broadcast perspective or a commentator's perspective, it was really good to watch. So I'm really excited to see what it's like to watch back. So thank you guys for doing that, and we look forward to doing it next week at Iowa.
I'll just quickly get in there and say, boys, when you do get to the final 5 laps or so, just turn the volume down a little bit, because Aidan and I went through that bloody roof. It was phenomenal.
Wait, last night in my stuff, I pissed my pants. I reckon I shit myself.
No. It's all right. It's 11 o'clock. We can get away with it. That's fine.
Yeah, we can mute that out. We can mute that out.
Brilliant. Now, yeah, how good's the invoice going to be on tonight? Fantastic stuff, boys. Congratulations! It's the first time at your series. What a wonderful initiation. Couldn't have picked a better night to come to the office for the first time. So, on behalf of the crew from SimShed Broadcasting, thanks so much for having us on board. Andrew and I will be back at various points throughout the season, and Aidan's going to be here every week steering the ship. I'm gonna try and come in and help him on the odd occasion, but I don't think I need to after tonight. He's had a brilliant call. Brilliant performance from all of you. Well done. Good luck in Iowa. Rest up. And, of course, for Mark particularly, we're thinking of you tomorrow, mate, and enjoy the commemorations right around the area.
Yeah.
Thanks, boys.
Can I just jump in for a bit there, Mark? I think I heard correctly. You were a returned service. So thank you for your service. We really appreciate it. And hopefully you enjoy tomorrow and all goes well for you, and thank you.
Absolutely.
My pleasure, guys.
congratulations, not just on your service, but also, of course, the performance tonight. Who would have thought? I mean, I tell you what.
What a sensational race!
I,
What a
I,
sensational race.
we all thought it was over with the contact on the back straight. iRacing let that go. They let it go green to the flag, and Mark Johansson comes through and cleans up the bickies. Your final thoughts and some driver of the night nominations from you, please.
Driver of the night. Can we not go past the winner, Mark Johansson? Like, seriously, can we not go past that? Starting out of P40, yes, there was a bit of luck there. We thought with 14 to go that it was going to go green. Then we had yellows and yellows. But you know what? He put the car there and he put it there and he owns the league and he does it. And he's put so much into this. And if I was in his lounge room or in his sim right now, I can see how proud and how emotional he'd be about that win. So
100%.
definitely goes. Mine is Mark tonight for the driver of the night. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
Andrew, do you want to elaborate on that? Any honourable mentions along the way here, or is it all Mark Johansson in your eyes as well?
Yeah, look, mate, I think he deserves it. Return service, what a race to win. He sets the whole league up. He's done it, pretty much everything. Spent, I can only imagine the amount of time it takes to set up a league in one of these races, and what a weekend to win it on. So yeah, mine goes to Mark as well.
And not just to set up a league, Aiden, but to run it, maintain it, and man it week to week, and put up with all the moaning and groaning of the people. Because again, we're racers, we're not easy to please. We're always whinging about something.
100%. 100%. It takes hours and hours and hours. Hours.
Yeah, it takes a lot of man time, a lot of patience and tolerance, no doubt about that.
Always someone complaining about something, but awesome racing. It was a great night. Thanks for having me on board again.
You're all right, mate.
No.
Thank you for jumping in the booth.
A pleasure as always, Andrew. Just fight harder to get more words in next time. It's pretty hard with Aiden and I going full tilt. There's no
That's all right. I'll just follow your lead, and if I hear my name called, I'll jump in. But you guys. Both, congratulations to yourselves. You both do an awesome job. You wouldn't realise you were watching a sim racing, and I said this to Aiden last night. You wouldn't realise you were watching a sim racing event if you were watching it on your phone, or you'd think it was real life. So you guys are very good at what you do, and I just appreciate you having me on board and teaching me the way it goes.
I just wish I could drive better than I can commentate. Then, eh?
Well, that's why I stick to commentary, Aiden.
But I've got to be best of both worlds. But anyway, let's get back to the point at hand.
Yeah,
and,
just quickly.
Show.
Yeah, exactly. Just quickly, Andrew, far too kind, but you've earned yourself a recall with that lovely compliment that you've just paid Aiden and I. I appreciate that. On behalf of all of us here, it's been such a special night. We've enjoyed it immensely. We're looking forward to more of the same as we look ahead for you on SimShed Broadcasting, and this is what you can look forward to as far as the next week is concerned. We get stuck into the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series, round 11 on the back of the first Enduro of the season. We're back to sprint mode this week, but it's leg 2 of the Triple Crown. We go to the Charlotte Rival, Tuesday night, 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you join Chris Kisby, Matt Davis and myself for that. Matt Davis and Andrew Collins will be here with you Wednesday night for all the action from the Goodyear Autocare Goodyear Autocare Tirana, fair dinkum. It's been a long day. V8 T2E Series. I read the V, not the W. Of course, that is also coming away from the Charlotte Rival. 100-kilometre race there, 150 on the Tuesday night, 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Next Saturday night, we continue our coverage with the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship. And we move our attention, as the boys said, to Iowa Speedway and in Newton, Iowa. We're looking forward to that. And that will be broadcast time and details to be confirmed later in the week here on SimShed Broadcasting. But on behalf of the Weekend Warriors and the Australian Stock Car Championship, a huge thanks to Shortshift Sim Racing Magazine for their sponsorship of the inaugural ANZAC Cup. And, of course, to Abritzi Australia and SimShed Broadcasting for making tonight possible.
Yeah, we've also got to throw in a massive thank you to JP. He does an awesome job behind the line.
Indeed, it does. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I also have to say a huge thanks to you guys for keeping me awake over the last 4 hours, because I got home at 7 o'clock after 10 hours of work per se, or 11, and then went through for another 4. But I couldn't have picked a better night to do it, as I said. The road map's in my eyes at the moment. Andrew, you could use to drive to Victoria on Monday. I got up at 6:30 this morning. I'm not a pretty sight, so I'm about to bowl. And as we do that, Aidan Schultz, a final thought from you, because I can see you lit up there.
No, I'm just on voice to talk. That's why you see me lit up through me breathing. But a big thank you to SimShed Broadcasting to allow me to be a part of it. I've done a lot of work with JP recently. All the drivers, Weekend Warriors, thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. I did give up a spot of my race tonight to be able to broadcast this, or commentate this rather. And it was so enjoyable, and I will continue to commentate it moving forward. All the guys for allowing us to jump in the cars during the night to be able to create the content for the viewers. It's really hard on a super speedway to be able to talk while you're doing that. So we really do appreciate that. Everyone else that I run with every week, everyone around the sim racing community, it's just growing and growing and growing, and look forward to commentating next week at Iowa. So thank you guys, and we will see you next week.
Indeed we will. So that's it. Extraordinary night. We appreciate you sticking with us for the extra hour here, ladies and gentlemen. Well worth the price of admission. Hopefully you weren't disappointed by what you saw tonight, because if you were, you're extremely bloody difficult to please. It is already ANZAC Day in New Zealand, where we've got our Kiwi mates in mind at this time of the morning over there. And of course, it is as equally a symbolic day, as I try and spit my words out at the last minute here. It is as equally a symbolic day for them as it is for us. And of course, as far as the Australian Stock Car Championship was concerned for the Weekend Warriors, this was billed as the event of the season. This was their Bathurst. This was the one that everybody wanted to win. And in the end, it's somewhat symbolic and appropriate on the eve of the most symbolic day on our calendar that a returned vet got the job done. Mark Johansson wins the ANZAC Cup for 2021. And what a fitting special tale that will be going forward in the history of this event. On behalf of Andrew Collins, Aidan Schultz, JP, and the entire SimShed Broadcasting team, I'm Zach Caban bidding you a very good night, and lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
On your boys this